Okay. We should be live. Hello, everybody. Chat, let me know if we have live. Hope it's all going well. Hope you're having a great week. Good way to finish things off. As it is Friday, streaming day anyway, but I figured, given that it's a reveal stream, we might as well do a react to the reveal stream. If you are very unfamiliar, Games Workshop today are doing their first kind of like big reveal of the year, and everyone's pretty excited. I think people are hoping for some big things to come. Most importantly, of course, is Marneus Calgar in Phobos Armour. Of course, it's been at least a couple of months since he got a new model, so yeah, I think it's just coming around the corner now. Ardia just hoping for him with jump pack. Marneus Calgar with jump pack would work. I feel like Games Workshop think they're so in on the joke. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see this, like as an April Fool's thing or something like that, but then they actually make a model for it, because it probably would sell quite well, which would be hilarious. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Let me pull up. The problem is I can't, I need to pull up the chat again. What am I hoping from the reveals? Oh, good question. So, I hope we get 3 books revealed, which is often how they do them. Just do them in 3s, and it would be really great to see the upcoming Alpha Legion book. Seeing something on that would be really cool, and then maybe like maybe a Dark Angels book, and then maybe a Bad War book. That would be really satisfying for me. In addition, because of the release of the Leagues of Votann Tau models coming alongside 500 Worlds, lore-wise, I do really hope they reveal today another campaign book for 500 Worlds, something alongside the one we've already had, and something connecting the Votann and the Tau to the overall narrative, because I think that will at least giving them a heavy focus, because I think that would be very, very well received. And at the end of the day, Ultramarines get enough lore as it comes. Maybe it'll be a special Calgar only option. I mean, the thing is, it's totally doable, right? They can. A lot of the time, you've probably noticed this, if you play Warhammer 40k, they often very clearly reuse sculpts and just like reuse poses. Like some Space Marine models are just like exactly the same, but like a different chapter or a different like cloth that they've got on them, or whatever it's going to be. But it's still the case that they're just reusing the same pose, so they can just kind of reprint however they do it and just kind of put a Calgar head swap in. And he does have one of the most definable, heads and chins of Warhammer 40k. I think after Torgaradon, he probably has the best chin. I don't know if anyone's got a better chin in the model range, but I think he's got to be up there, right? Hello, everybody. I reckon a new Bjorn the Fell-Handed model. Oh, good point. I mean, a notable character, well, the notable character, I guess, missing from the Space Wolf range. The Space Wolves have pretty much got all of their models in Primaris, except for Bjorn the Fell-Handed, and I think that's because it ties into my theory that we are going to get a Lionel Johnson, Bjorn the Fell-Handed, honor duel at some point in the future. I must stress, I have no reason to think this, to be honest with you, but still, I'm gonna think it because it's my channel, and I'm allowed to have whatever crazy theory I want, right? If the vid title turns out to be fake, expect another more aggressive protest outside UWs. I mean, the thing is, like I say, I honestly think that because they were making those videos, if you didn't see them, with so much glee, and they thought they were so funny, that I really think there's a good chance they actually do this shit now. Watching on my lunch break in North America. Hey, bud. Thank you. Hope your work's going well. Hopefully can give you a little bit of respite over lunchtime. The Bad War would also let them do scaled up Mark 7 armor kit, or do you think we'll get Scouring era minis under the Horus Heresy game? Such a good question, man, because the answer, like, it seems like the answer has to be yes, in terms of a Mark 7, scaled up Mark 7 that would go along the Horus Heresy. Actually, I'll explain for people that don't play the game. So in Warhammer 40k, as I'm sure you're aware, there's all these different armor marks for the Space Marines, from 1 through to 8, and then you skip 9 because Windows did it, and so now the Imperium of Man does it. And from that, and then you have Mark 10, which is Primaris armor, which is the last one, I guess, is the idea. And 1 to 8 are all very definitive, and they all have their own histories, and they're all very popular. And in the Horus Heresy, the game, you can buy kits for most of the armor marks now from the Heresy era, and they're going to release the others in time. And all of the kits are usable with all of the guns. So you buy bodies as one, and then you buy guns separately. And so you can basically put a las cannon on any mark of armor, and it will work perfectly fine, which is pretty cool. However, Mark 7 it's technically not really in the Heresy very much. Towards the end, it starts to appear a little bit, but Mark 7 armor, which is the most iconic armor of Warhammer 40k, isn't in the Heresy, so they haven't been able to release a Mark 7 kit. And because it's the most iconic armor, it is the armor that most people like want to play in Warhammer 40k, and a lot of people like Primaris Marines, but maybe they prefer Mark 7, maybe they don't like Primaris Marines, and they just want to play like classic Space Marines from what we had when we were a kid. And the Horus Heresy Space Marines are scaled up to be a bit more in line with what Primaris Marines are. It's not a 1-for-1, but they're almost as tall. If I could grab some out in a bit maybe and show you, but ultimately, what that means is that if Games Workshop ever released up a scaled up Mark 7 armor, they would make a buttload of cash. Like, you're talking literally like Primarch release levels of income for how much money it would make Games Workshop. And because we've now got Warhammer the Scouring as a series, that gives Games Workshop all the justification that they need to release a Mark 7 kit and allow everybody to just buy them and use the existing Horus Heresy range to use those models as and when they'd like. However, most of them, of course, the people that are playing the Horus Heresy the game are playing like battles, like immersive within the Horus Heresy setting, the Age of Darkness, and so it will be an interesting change. But there's so much money on the table if Games Workshop do this. So I think it's got to come. I don't know if it will come soon though, because each edition, like with Warhammer 40k, is based around like a conflict. So in last edition, they were picking the Siege of Chthoniya. This edition, it's the Drop Site Massacre. So next edition might be like the Siege of Terra or something else. And then after that, they'll get onto the Scouring and doing, I don't know, maybe like second founding chapters or something like that, which would be pretty badass. I wonder how GW's live stream will go. Hopefully nothing bad. Yeah, it will be really funny. The last time we did one of these, Games Workshop's live stream was a complete shit show. So I have really no idea what's going on. Just got into the hobby and franchise recently, collecting Votann for now. Votann, looking forward to the showcase. Hopefully most factions get something cool. Yeah, I mean, Votann are definitely waiting for their kind of big push from Warhammer from the lore, and they've had like one proper book and they've had appearances in other novels. But I think people are already looking for them to get, because they were received so well by the community. Everybody wants Xenos factions to get more attention, and so yeah, it definitely wants to happen. Amber King, have a look at Valrak's stream. Okay, yes, he's big and he's blue. he's very blue. If you check out Valrak right now. I'm a member for like 3 days. You're the best channel for Warhammer 40k. Me personally want more models for the game. That's book time for the third company of the Ultramarines. Best company killers. Hey, I mean, you're pretty likely to get that, I would say. I mean, we've just had Arios, who's what, 6th company, so maybe. But then you've got Warhammer Total War coming. That's a pretty big deal. Like, so you're the poster guy, aren't you? For is it the third company in Total War? Yeah, it's third company for Total War. So for Total Warhammer 40k, you guys are getting a lot of focus. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that like you get a bunch more lore for that. So be excited, I guess. It's pretty good time to be playing third company Ultramarines. I guess all of the companies get something over time for Ultras, just because everybody gets a bit of focus. Was the last live stream the one with the audio issues? Yes, it was. It was indeed. I mean, by recent Custodes refresh and the rumor model, the comments are going to be fun. Interesting. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how the internet takes it, but it could be an exciting time. Uh, I used to not like the beaky helmets, but after playing Bolt Gun for a while, I get it. They're sick. Yeah, I mean, it's because as well, like if you the Rogue Trader book, which is that one there, like in that, of course, it's the original Space Marine models, and they were all beakies back then, right? And Mark 6 is basically identical to the original Space Marine sculpt. It's of course changed a little bit, but it is yeah, Mark 6 is really the kind of original Space Marine. So that's why that was the first big plastic upgrade that they got, which is cool. Yeah, someone was messaging in Discord about like whether I should get some sort of cosplay done or something like that, because I'd love to have one, because I feel like I can kind of justify it to my wife. Like if I had like a full Space Marine cosplay like on a stand in the background of this video, of this live stream, that would look epic, right? And I could wear it to like Warhammer tournaments. I go to like maybe like half a dozen Warhammer events a year, and so I actually think I'd get quite a lot of use out of it. So I feel like this is a good investment. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if anyone knows any good companies, but I need to take a look at that. But I think a Watcher in the Dark is an obviously easy one. I'd love a Cypher cosplay. That would be awesome. Can you imagine? Just sit in this chair with a massive sword strapped to my back. It'd be amazing. I don't mind Mark 10 helmets, but it's best to have a good mix of all armor types. I wouldn't even mind if they made some modern Mark 1 and Mark 2 sculpts. Yeah, Mark 1. So yeah, Mark 1 is like the Thunder armor. So there's not much of it. There's like occasionally there's characters with it, like there's in the Outcast Dead, but it's sort of like relic armor. It's just, yeah, it's like left over from Thunder Warrior days, and it's, yeah, very rarely used. And of course the change from first to second marks was massive. So after that point, never really go back. Thank you for your content. I always enjoy listening on drives during downtime. Thanks, man. Thanks. I really appreciate that. I'm slowly convinced that GW will bring Firstborn back by having the Horus Heresy have all the armor marks. Mark 7 and 8 will be sick. I mean, that's the thing, is that once you have Mark 7 armor or Mark 8 armor, or even just the Horus Heresy range now, it's not a one-for-one, because the Horus Heresy models, a lot of them have very different loadouts to what you can run in 40k. But if you wanted to make a Horus Heresy army that could be very easily usable in 40k, it's doable. So, for example, you don't have Hellblasters in 30k. Hellblasters in 40k are just Primaris Marines with plasma guns, but you can still make a squad of Horus Heresy tactical support squads with plasma guns, and then you've got Hellblasters. And there are some things you can't really do, like you can't really do Gravis armor or Phobos armor, but maybe there's something you can kit bash there to make sense. Like for example, the Terminators. It's like a Terminator is a Terminator. Like the new Horus Heresy Terminators for like the Cataphractii, they are upscaled to be like the new Indomitus Mark Terminator armors. And if you just used your Horus Heresy Terminators in 40k, you wouldn't have an issue whatsoever. Likewise, maybe some of the Dreadnoughts you could easily substitute in if you were playing with friends. Like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff you could do. There's a lot of stuff you could do to make it work. Return of Yarick, maybe. Return of Yarick will be big. I think that's been in the rumor mill for a little while. I don't really get the rumors, but I've heard people saying that people were quite hyped on that. So yeah, I mean, it's got to happen. I don't think so. Eric Tyrannus isn't described as being massively bigger than large Space Marine. He's not. He is a bit bigger. I'm pretty certain he is described as being bigger. Or at least Gota is. And so yeah, I'm pretty certain they are supposed to be bigger than Space Marines. I'm nervous about Custodes. Here's plastic versions of Forge World stuff for 30k. Also, there's units that will go to Legends for 40k. Oh, okay, so is that the big thing? Okay. Well, to be fair, let me yeah. All right, if we have a look at the Warhammer 40k website, currently, when it comes to not Space Marines, Armies of the Imperium, the Forge World stuff is already so expensive. You can't really go anywhere but up here, guys. I don't think, can you? Where are we looking? 364 pounds for an Ares gunship. Have you ever seen one of these on the tabletop? This is just a block of resin. They're terrible. 80 quid for that's not actually as bad as some things, but yeah, it's already very expensive. I mean, the Contemptor, normal Contemptor, is half that price. So if you got these guys in plastic, that'd be huge. Aquilon Terminates. I mean, if they are going to do some Custodians today, I think you got the Venatari are an obvious place to start, and then a couple of the unique Custodian Contemptors. That's got to happen. Oh, interesting. Yeah. I mean, suppose the range is tiny. Where's the Telemon? Telemon's got to be in here somewhere. That Achilles looks so good. The Grav tanks are also kind of a classic kit. And again, they're so expensive currently. I mean, if you get a plastic version of that, it could be like, 40% off, I reckon, for what it is currently. But yes, I mean, Venatari and the Custodian specific dreads, that would be huge. I know a couple of Custodians fans who would be very happy to get that. Very happy. I was just clicking on to look at that chat that's going strong. Calgar on the toilet. Nice. Okay. See, people hoping straight for Primarchs. I mean, I totally admire your commitment, but unfortunately, I don't know if that would be today. Any predictions? So yeah, I mean, if people are hyped on Custodians, that would be awesome. Alpha Primus model, the Alpha Primus model would be awesome. I don't see why you couldn't have an Alpha Primus model, just a character you can run in your Adeptus Mechanicus army. Maybe you have to run Belisari is cool, but yeah, it'd work. It'd be awesome. There's no reason you can't do it. I saw the Ares one time. I killed it in one round with Magnus. Very satisfying. Yeah, I played it in like a tournament years ago, and it was one of those things where, because it's obviously one model, this was in like 8th edition, I think, maybe, and so because it was only one model, the guy could just put all his buffs onto one model, and so yeah, it had whatever stacking of buffs. I think it went down in 2. I think it still went down pretty quickly. What would be best for me to learn the kill team rules? There's a friend I have called Andy who does a channel called Glass Half Dead, and he does a lot of kill team stuff. So definitely check him out. I would totally recommend that. Anne, thank you so much. Last thing I heard, new Custodes heads plus new model. Interesting. Okay, beware of the internet for a little bit, guys. Why don't you and Law Crimes do a duo stream? Yeah, we should do, I guess. Oh yeah, it's a good shout. Damn Sandman, early Sandman stream, and J. Cole dropping his Fall Off album. It's been a happy damn week for me. Good. I'm glad. The big two things there. I do wonder if we'll be getting the Akura model they've teased in the rumor engine. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, if you're not from, maybe I can find it. That's actually a really, really solid guess. I'm going to steal that now as my guess as to... try that. Okay, yes. Okay, yes. So this was a reveal in the rumor engine that came out like last year, maybe even a year ago. And this is part of the Pale Spear of Alfarius. And whilst it could very well just be part of like an Omegon model for the Horus Heresy, in 40k, as you can see, Solomon Akura does now have at least part of the Pale Spear. So he could be getting a model in 40k, and given that the Alpha Legion don't really have a model right now, and he's probably the most famous character currently, and that he's getting more lore in the future, it would make sense for him to get a model. So I hope you're right there, pal. That would be awesome. Alpha Primus would be cool. Give him a rule to defend cool on the tabletop or something like that. Yes, that would be great. That would be so much fun. I don't see why you couldn't do it, but I guess like the pushback will be quite funny just thinking about it, because it's like when, and Adeptus Mechanicus are like lots of armies where they don't get too many model releases realistically, and very little compared to Space Marines. So it's quite funny that when they finally get a new model, it's actually just a Space Marine. I heard we're getting Calgar and Centurion armor. Centurion armor would be an interesting one to bring through to the Primaris Marine range. Centurion armor is from like that time of Warhammer 40k where like no one really knew. Oh yeah, Centurion armor just put a load of Roman stuff. This is from the time of Warhammer 40k's history where Games Workshop weren't really making much money, and so they were just kind of chucking out a new tank, a new random model like every few years, and this was one of those things, and it was relatively popular. Some people quite like the aesthetic. It's basically like an approximation for Terminator armor if they can't make enough of it. It was the law behind it at the time. And now that we've moved to Primaris Marines and we've got a new Terminator armor, and in addition to that we've got aggressors, these have largely, I think, been forgotten about, but it's not impossible for them to bring them over. But there's a lot of like random stuff that they released in that time period. It was an odd time of Warhammer 40k's history. Now Games Workshop, of course, make crap tons of money, but back in the day they were nearly bankrupt for many years. What's your predictions for the Corsairs reveals being some Xenos? Oh, that would be good. A Corsairs army would work. It would work. They currently have a kill team, but they could just kind of do a bunch of upgrade kits for some of the existing Drukhari, or they can just release a bunch of new models for you to run alongside it. But an army, for example, where every unit has to be in a transport or something like that, that's pretty cool, man. I think it would work well. I wish they made Primaris breaches. Yes, me too. I just got the new Horus Heresy box, and that has got some of the new plastic breaches in, and I haven't built them yet, but I have some already from the resin. And yeah, I love breaches. They're so fun. Whatever chapter, it's just a dream, because you can just kind of go, you can do really fun stuff on the shields, or you can just, yeah, put whatever transfers you think look cool. Or with my Dark Angels, I kind of try to do like Bretonnian heraldry style stuff. It's just, yeah, they're a lot of fun. And at the very least, like for Imperial Fist or something. Good day, Sandman of Terra. How the bloody hell are you? First time catching one of your streams. Oh, well, thanks for joining me. Thanks so much, everybody. I appreciate you guys checking out this stream. I know you got your options, so I'll try to make it as entertaining as possible. Last time, Games Workshop's audio got fucked up, so I could just kind of fill in for them. And I think I did a really good job, and I think I justified my my position. So I'll send in my CV maybe for the next one. But I'll fill in if they do it again. Or just one named Night Lord's character. Really bummed the death of Saints dying in Morven Val's book was dumb. Yeah, I do think that was. I do wish he'd survived. He was actually pretty cool. I think he actually was the star of the show, really, in that novel. And yeah, I mean, Decimus is totally doable. There's no reason they can't now, and I think everybody would love it. Realistically, it would be a big day. Stream just went live. All right, it's go time, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. How do I close that? Yes. All right. All right, not quite live just yet. Is there supposed to be some reveals tonight? Yes, is indeed. The New Year's reveals. So this is the first kind of big reveals of the year. Okay. All right. Let me know how the audio is. Currently, Games Workshop are coming through strong, so no problems as of yet. I should do a collab with Varric. Yeah, I did message him about it once, and then no, yeah, I think he was doing something at the time, so he didn't have time. But I'll have to reach out again. It depends on the some YouTubers don't really liked the collabs. They're not really into them, and yeah, I guess some people feel uneasy about that kind of thing, or for whatever reason, and so yeah, it's up to them, I guess. Valky and Rasek will be perfect. Yes, very true. Okay, audio is fine. Should have set up a bingo card. Oh, that's a great shout. That's a great shout. Yeah. And the other thing is we can kind of just talk through the AOS stuff, because I don't really know anything about AOS, so I have very little commentary to add outside of like, oh, that's a nice new skeleton. Lovely sculpt, that one there. Stream is a little bit too loud. All right, that's fine. All right. I loved you on Lodgecast. Good. Well, I've got a second one coming out this month. And yeah, that's on Descent of Angels, which is... I don't get too hard, but like I try to defend Descent of Angels somewhat, because I think it is an underrated book. I get why people don't like it, because also where it falls in the heresy, but I actually secretly quite like that novel. Well, not even secretly. Good to see they revealed Demon Angron and Latara last year. Interesting, yeah. I mean, that's a pretty reasonable prediction, is that we'll get a Demon Primarch for the heresy. That excludes Lorgar and Perturabo. But we've still got, who needs a demon model? Magnus and Mortarion. Magnus and Mortarion need demon models for the heresy, so we'll see. Pandemonium model. God, we can only wish, brother. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly when Dan Abnett will have pushed it back to, but yeah, it could be quite a long time. AOS disrespected. They start off first. I mean, they always start off with AOS. I feel like, because they know that people are going to drop off after the 40k stuff comes, and AOS is sort of their upsell to you if you play 40k, isn't it? I'd love to see an Erebus model. An Erebus model. I mean, it's possible. It is possible. I think that all of the Chaos forces will get proper models. I'll go back to it once it properly starts. All of the Chaos models will get like models over time. But the interesting one will be the Word Bearers and the Iron Warriors, because there are Iron Warriors and Word Bearer specific units, like what you get in 30k, but they don't have the distinctive range that the solo god legions have, and so they're largely just Black Legion with a twist, aren't they, in terms of how they're presented? But that's fine. That's fine. As long as they just get a bunch of models and then maybe some Terminators and a couple of unique squads and, of course, a Demon Primarch, then they can get their own codex. But then we've also got the Red Corsairs actually getting... I think they've revealed 2 Red Corsairs models already. But in addition to that, we've also got like a potential whole Red Corsairs range to come out. Because the Red Corsairs appear in the Dawn of Fire books, probably much more prominently than the Black Legion. And in addition to that, Huron Blackheart and the Badab War, definitely one of the most popular parts of Warhammer 40k. The Red Corsairs getting a lot more focus makes a lot of sense. They captured Rabute Gilliman. So yeah, guys, please would like this stream as well. Yes, someone points out it does really help out the channel. Makes a huge difference. I'll say this about Games Workshop. They got some great music. Look at that. Look at that. YouTube is not going to like this stream when it's done. I definitely do not have the rights to be using this music right now. It is what it is, YouTube. Do you think they'll upscale Chaos Terminators? Chaos Terminators are not that old, is the thing. I mean, when did they get rescaled? They got rescaled... It would have been 5 years ago now, something like that, which is not that long in 40k terms. So it's not impossible, but they're not exactly an out-of-date sculpt, are they? But eventually they will do. Definitely. Because the new... I actually built a load of the new ones for the Dark Angels recently, and they are... New chunky boys are great. They are really good. You want me to say for you? It's good. Okay, I apologize. I don't want to play it down. It's just never going to be the focus. Oh, I can't say never. It's unlikely to ever be the focus of this channel. But maybe things will change. I don't mind the Horus Heresy novels for the Dark Angels. I don't love them or hate them. I do think they have some good moments. They do have some good moments. I think it's sort of for a lot of people, if you're not interested in the Dark Angels, they're books you have to get through because they're not Descent of Angels and Fallen Angels take place really early on, and so they don't really take place within the main canon of the Horus Heresy, and so people are more interested in that storyline. Dreadnought Yarrick revealed today. Dreadnought Yarrick. That's a good question. If they were to bring Yarrick back, could they do it as some sort of like far more heavily augmented model? And could be. Yeah. I think the cooler thing to do would be to reveal first Angron's intention to... Sorry, Gazgul's intention to bring Yarrick to justice. I think that would be epic. I was really hoping that would be a reveal at the end of the Grotsnick book, but it wasn't. Luther model's got to come at some point. Definitely. Weirdly, Luther doesn't like battle in the Horus Heresy much at all, because of course he's sequestered to Caliban, so he doesn't actually come up very much at all. But he's still about, and he's still a big force within the Dark Angels. I skipped all the Dark Angels books on my first read the Heresy. Nah, fair enough. On Silent War right now, heard great things about Angels of Caliban. Yeah, so Angels of Caliban, and then this is where things really start to pick up, to be honest with you. Like Fallen Angels is so Descent of Angels is a great book because it's kind of the origin of the Dark Angels and the Lion, and it's like I know it's relatively fleeting in the history of the lore, but it is the book that gives us the what if version of the Lion. The Lion in the first like 2/3 of Descent of Angels is a pretty noble guy. He's actually really likable. He is incredibly kind, and he works hard to get along with those underneath him. And it's after that point and Luther's betrayal that he actually sorry, because Luther still betrays him in that book temporarily. And it's after that point that the Lion becomes much more hardened, and why everyone goes, oh, the Lion's a dick. But if we're actually in that book, that's where we get to see what the Lion would have been like if Luther had never betrayed him. Huh. Oh, fuck. Why can't I, for some reason... Oh, okay. Don't know why that's not working. Okay, sorry. Warg Boss Yarrick. Yeah. I hope we get Dark Mechanicum. Dark Mechanicum is pretty highly likely, because Dark Mechanicum are such a big deal in the books, and so it's pretty inevitable that they will get a huge 40k focus at some point. But there is just so much like I guess they're sort of holding them back for something big. Like Exodites, Dark Mechanicum, those are the two big factions that are like appear a lot in the books, and of course should have an army range, and currently don't. So those two have both got to come at some point. But and yeah, who knows what they're really waiting for there. I mean, the fact that we've had like obviously World Eaters and Votan in recent years is honestly very very rare. We don't normally get this much of in terms of model releases, between like the Drukhari coming out and the Tau, and like, you know, what was that, like 3rd edition. Like we didn't get, after that we didn't get a new army released for a long time. A Pandemonium Custodes release with models for both 30k 40k. Can you imagine? That would break the internet. Great to see you streaming a review show. Good. You know, I try to do them from time to time. They're always a lot of fun. I think it's kind of more fun for me if they fuck up their stream again. It's just quite funny. So is it just a new model that was released, or any actual lore teasers? So with these reveal streams, it can be kind of anything. So sometimes they do models or lore. Oh, they've just started.
New Year Warhammer preview. I'm Adam Troke. I'm joined by my friend and colleague Eddie Eccles, and we are delighted to welcome you all here.
Yeah, we've got some very cool Warhammer reveals for you on the way in this preview. We have some Warhammer 40,000, some Warhammer Age of Sigmar, a little bit of Horus Heresy, some new animation to have a look at, and some Blood Bowl. So it is a packed preview with a little bit of something from every corner of Warhammer.
Fantastic. We're joined by loads of you already in the chat on both YouTube and on Twitch. Thank you for coming.
Hi guys.
Time with us. We're going to wait a while before we jump into the first preview so that people can continue to flood in. And it's always nice to
volume up.
All right. Welcoming and greeting everybody. It's nice to know where you're all from. So if you wouldn't mind just punching into the chat, if you're in Twitch, we'll be following along. We got some people monitoring the questions and making sure that Eddie and I get
try that as well. I'm going to steal this. I'm going to steal their techniques. Chat, hit me up. Let me know in chat. Where are you from?
Maybe we can talk about
what you had for lunch.
You've been doing some hobby, Adam?
I have been doing some hobby. Here is my latest offerings. I've been doing an Angels of Death kill team for kill team, and I've dark angels them up. You can see there because they come in blue plastic, and I've been adding bits from my pretty extensive dark angels bits box.
They look lovely.
Yeah, they're all right. They're a bit more advanced. They're all undercoated, and a couple of them are base coated.
Oh, show off.
Well, yeah, I've not played as much Kill Team as I'd like, and this is my endeavour to get properly into it in the next few weeks.
We'll have to have a game when you've got them all ready.
Yeah, I imagine you'll beat me up, but that'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll have fun. We'll be fun times.
That's the main thing, right? What about you, Eddie?
Well, I've been painting
I actually
even better
bought
chapter,
a kilt the other day.
Top two, I'd give you that.
Because I wore one for our wedding, and my wife really liked it.
Dreadnoughts, little dreadnoughts,
So
all the dreadnoughts
like,
I could
buy
find.
one.
Are these for anything?
They are for a team event for Warhammer 40,000, and my contribution to the team is just loads and loads of dreadnoughts.
And why? This is Bran Redmore's.
They are Bran Redmore's, yeah. So I picked the angriest Space Wolves.
It's pretty nice.
I could find for my group.
Fair play. Fair play.
Oh, perfect. So it'd be nice to just get a sense of where you're all tuning in from. We're seeing we've got people tuning in from Spain and France, a bunch from the US, so welcome. Loads of people from the UK, and even here in Nottingham. And a couple, it seems, as far-flung as the upside-down land of Australia.
Nice.
So well
yeah, I've heard it's great this time of
and
year.
staying up
But
all
nothing's
night.
gone
That's
wrong
good.
there.
Really lovely to have you all here. If you are tuning in from
you want louder?
places and you want to join in the conversation online, we've got our international social media teams. You'll see them here for Facebook and Instagram. Why not drop onto those handles and join in the conversation?
Are any of
in your own
these
language,
social media teams like rogue?
Perfect.
Do they just
One of the things that we'll be doing, I mentioned previously, is we'll be keeping our Twitch stream.
I'd love that.
If you want to ask a question, type the word question in block caps and then write your question afterwards, and we'll try and filter through and cover some questions about the things that we're showing, to make sure that you get the answers that you need.
Same for you.
We'll try and tell you all the important stuff, but there might be some things that you
question.
really want to know. And if anything like that, pop them in the questions.
Yeah, I would suggest keeping it about the releases.
Oh yeah, not just generally, not just like how big is a blue whale, that sort of stuff.
Exactly, and there's only
specifically about Warhammer.
Yeah, there's only so much time in the world, right? We reckon we'll be here probably for the next hour and a quarter or so. It just depends how fast we talk and how much stuff there is to show, and there is a lot. We've already told people what we're going to show.
This is the problem.
We've already done the introductions.
They get so much hate because they have to do the buffing. They have to.
Let's go
to drag things out. It's their job to drag things out as long as possible. There he is. Okay, this is a lot more red corsairs than I was expecting. Were those upscale Terminators? They're just pretty chunky. Are those corsairs? Is that why they released the lore about Ariel being exiled? No way! Fuck! Oh! That is awesome, dude!
What a way to kick off the preview show with incredible releases, all themed around the Maelstrom. Eddie, how do we even start with this?
This is a fairly sizable release for Warhammer 40,000, and two armies are getting
Corsairs
a lot
and
of
red
new plastic miniatures.
Oh,
Chaos Space Marines and
Corsairs.
the forces of the Eldari. If we start on the diabolically heretical side of things, this is Huron Blackheart and the Masters of the Maelstrom. We knew, of course, that Huron Blackheart was on his way. We suspected there might have been some other Corsairy-looking things along with him.
They did good job on that model.
That he is on his way as part of a character box set, not unlike the Titus box set we saw released over recent weeks. And it is a phenomenal set of miniatures. starring, of course,
That
Huron
is
Blackheart.
really
We've
good.
seen this guy
You can
before.
tell
a
the
little bit,
difference in
but,
detail
just
between
a
that and
reminder
even
for
like
those
the
of you who might not
Abaddon
have seen
model.
already.
It's always nice to look at the tyrant of Adab, the master of the Red Corsairs. There he is with his little
Prince
demonic
Ariel
helper, the
in
Hannah
the
Dryer,
Corsairs. That is
and
that
he's,
is some
showing what
decent
happens when you go
Eldar
on the
lore
wrong side
development.
of a meltagun.
I love it.
Signed courtesy of Captain Andocles of the Star Phantoms chapter. Yeah, he doesn't come alone, as you
Well,
mentioned.
we'll have to do a stream
there
on
is
that-
a
that
swathe
Ariel short
of,
story now.
interesting characters in his retinue. Why don't we take a look at some of those? First up would be Geryon the Corpse Master. He's the Lord Apothecary of the Red Corsairs. He was the apothecary in
Look at
the
that,
Astral
Psycho,
Claws,
love
the
it.
chapter that was. And he was part of Huron's machinations to sort of play about with their gene seed and evade the gene seed tide, which is
naughty.
the whole problem
You
that
know what, I'll
kicked
pull
off
up
the
Kindle.
Fourth Quadrant Rebellion in
I'll
the
see.
first place.
I'll check which
And
ones
the
are
rest
actually
is
in the book.
history.
Yeah, well, exactly so.
So some fun stuff about how he plays in games.
Carry
Obviously,
on.
he is kind of not really got the best
Interesting.
interest at heart of the Red Corsairs that he battles alongside. You can see a Red Corsair on the base there, probably
Clutching the apron awkwardly.
Yeah, he's not going to get the medical attention that he's particularly looking for. He has a special rule, basically, where if a Red Corsair unit near him is at half strength, he can
Man,
have
I
a
feel like
command
this is
point
gonna do
because
really
he's harbored
well
in the gene
as
seed,
a-
and that's what he's looking for. He can also
Okay,
bring models
yes,
back
Gary
into
on,
the
he does
unit
get a
that,
fair few
he
mentions
is in, so
in the book.
Huron and his retinue are a little bit more durable.
Not the
Nice.
battlefield medic that the Red Corsairs might want, but definitely the one they deserve. Next up in line
need
is
to be a bit louder,
Qatar
again.
Garrix, who is the
Hang on,
headsman
or do
of the Red
I
Corsairs.
need to
This
make the
is
stream a
Huron
little bit
Blackheart's
quieter?
personal executioner, and he comes appropriately enough.
I'm going to
from the
try it that
executions
way,
chapter,
because
one
else
of
it
those
makes me
chapters
to
swept up in
some
the
reason.
Fourth Quadrant Rebellion and part of the Bad Ab War.
Qatar
He
Garrix,
signed
that
on
rings a
permanently to Huron
bell.
Blackheart after the events of
Yes,
that, and now
okay,
serves.
yeah,
It's
he
kind of
gets a
like
bunch of mentions.
A warning.
Man,
to
this is
any Red
nice.
Corsairs
Looks-
that
I
might
reckon
wanna
Mike
step
Brooks
out
is gonna be
of
writing
line. His
another model-
presence on
another
the bridge
novel.
of a vessel will quell even the smallest rumor of insurrection.
Yeah, I think if you turn up with the heads of the previous 7 people who had insurrections, that certainly sends a message, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
In game terms, no massive surprises that he is very good at killing enemy characters. He has precision and anti-character on his weapons, which is pretty cool.
Nice, and he just looks incredible. Really grim and foreboding character, and yeah, enough heads to send the message to anybody who wants to hear it. Next up in this retinue, and if you had Mantis Warriors in
Garlon
2026
Soul
on
Eater,
your bingo
he's
card,
definitely from the
congratulations.
novel as well.
This is Garlon Soul Eater, who
That's
was once a Mantis
Huron's,
Warriors librarian. He has
Psychic
signed
Council.
up with the Red Corsairs, and he is known as the
Right.
Tyrant's Witch. A formidable psyker. Now
See, all
a
of these,
chaos
I think it's really
sorcerer,
important that we
and he
remember,
uses his
all of these are
powers
Ultramarines,
to sort of
okay?
corrupt the minds
Probably.
of those around him. Their stories of him sort of
But for all
turning
of you people
crews
who
of,
like to bring up the Dark
gun
Angels.
decks against their allies and like firing salvos at supposedly friendly ships. And he's kind of like Huron's spy master and manipulates all of the sort of schemes around.
Yeah.
There's a lot of schemes
Huron.
if you're a pirate to keep track of.
Well, I
aren't there?
imagine
This
so,
sort of
right?
helps you out.
He's also got a really cool helmet, and the rumor is he hasn't taken it off for more than a decade, and maybe he's hideously mutated underneath.
Could be. He's got some really tasty rules
Relatively
in
likely.
Warhammer 40,000 as well. He has a precision psychic attack that is d6 plus 1 damage, which
Nice.
means you can basically pick out enemy characters in units and just take them out. Basically,
on the toilet, what's going on?
Reality.
So,
Fantastic. Yeah, another great
Hope you're having a good
Space Marine,
time.
Chaos Space Marine, I
hope
suppose,
you
within
can
Huron's retinue. The
enjoy
next,
this to its full
model
extent.
is,
So they've
Immortal,
released
and is,
Red
the
Corsairs
captain
versus
of the Reign of
Corsairs
Spite.
box set
This is Captain
with
Sarlofta.
loads of
She
new
was
models for
once
both
a
factions, which is
Imperial,
genuinely
Navy
brilliant.
commander from the
Superb way to start the
Solar
stream.
Segmentum fleets. Incredibly well placed within the noble houses, long lineage and dynasty behind her. She was politically outmaneuvered once she was injured, and while she was convalescing, sort of her position and station were taken from her. In revenge, she essentially orchestrated the handover of an entire naval dockyard and its ships and crews to a pirate fleet.
See, this is
Very
like
who's-
wild
very
because,
pirate.
like,
Exactly.
very
And now
clearly,
she serves,
Mike
on
Brooks
one of
was
the,
told about
the
all of
biggest
this
battle cruisers
5
in
years
Huron's
ago.
fleet,
And so he
where
put all
she,
of these characters into a
oversees
novel
lot of
that
his
came out
operations.
like half a
She also
decade
joins
ago.
the battlefield
And then
sometimes.
for
She
whatever
joins some of
reason,
the command
it
airs.
all gets
I think
delayed
this is
and it
my
comes out
favourite
now.
model from
nuts.
this box set.
It's really good.
It's really, really fun. It's like a nice character.
Let's do a Red Corsair stream, I
diorama
think,
piece.
guys, as well.
The thing that she's floating around on actually is something that she uses during boarding of enemy ships. So it's effectively like a mobile command dais, but she can plug it into the command stations of enemy ships once they've been boarded to take it over.
Yeah.
So she's all in pirate.
You can imagine all the mechadendrites underneath. You can imagine them slotting into all the.
I think
ports
she's
in
quite
a
important
plundered
because
ship,
she,
and then suddenly all of
because
those
being
data sets
Imperial,
behind her come
she
alive with all
allows
the
them.
information
She has the
that
knowledge of
you
how
steal
to
an entire
navigate
I like the
Imperial
little bird
blockades.
skulls
I
on the
think is the
shoulder
thing
as
in
well.
the
I
book,
like to
something
imagine
like
one of
that.
those was a parrot.
So she's she's very useful in that regard.
Fantastic model and really
I've not
exciting
read this
addition.
book for a long
The next
time.
one, maybe even stranger, and a lot of people have been trying to guess what this means. They've looked
I
at
don't
the
think
silhouette.
anyone gets right.
Yeah,
If you did,
absolutely.
well done.
So
This is
good.
a Tyrellian dog soldier known as the Enforcer. She is essentially the warrior that Huron sends out to hunt down those who would dissent against
Do
him.
not remember a crocodile lady in the
Maybe there's
book.
people naysaying his
Bree
leadership
said, I
or
remember that one.
reneging on deals. And so the Enforcer hunts them down relentlessly. She'll go as far as it takes to do so. And she takes with her plunder, which is the canine-ish, canid-looking creature. That is, if you were wondering, an adolescent
Perhaps
Barghese.
go
If
to
the term
people I'm
Barghese
liking
is
a
familiar
lot.
to you, that's because in Warhammer 40,000 there's a thing called the hyper-violent Barghese, which has appeared a couple of times in our lore. This is what they look like before they are big enough to be called the hyper-violent.
Either that or they decided based on what he wrote.
When
Yeah,
she
that's
first
true.
met
That's
it,
true.
It bit her arm off,
But
which is why she's got that unusual.
I feel like
bionic
most
sort
of these
fist
characters
thing
didn't
you
get
can
a
see
big
there.
focus
Now
in
it
the
serves
novel.
essentially as her
So-
little hunter killer. But she has to keep an eye on it because they're prone to spates of really rapid growth.
I reckon
and
that you
eventually
might
will
see
become
like
too big to manage.
this is part of the
Rumours
Tau Empire range at some point.
Barghese like devastating entire.
Honestly, wouldn't
spaceports,
surprise me too much.
Like run rife. So she will eventually have to take it to the Warhammer 40,000 equivalent of the woodshed.
Man,
Or
see,
the
I really
space
don't collect
we're
either
a
of these
happy ending
armies.
for everybody in the Grim
But I do
Darkness
really
department.
like the look of this
I
box,
think what this
and it's
miniature
honestly a
does,
great box.
in terms of
Like-
telling you about the story of Huron and the Maelstrom itself, is indicating that not only have you got like renegade Chaos Space Marines and humans, you also have alien
have to do Red
pirates and
Corsairs
bounty
video.
hunters
Have
and
to
all
do
the kind of
Liber,
ne'er-do-wells and
Chaos video.
piratical forces
Have to
from
do
the
extra
whole
video,
region
but remember you have
gravitating
yet to
towards the
you
Maelstrom.
haven't
So it's not
chosen.
just
Say the on
about
total walkthrough.
Chaos Space
Yeah,
Marines.
so I do
He
have
is
like
the
a
master of
notes.
this
I have like a
enormous
notes
pirate
page where I just
empire
keep
within the
lists of
Absolutely,
everything.
yeah. The forces at his
will,
disposal are vast.
add those
if
to it.
You want to resist.
But I
the
try to do
sort
things
of
when they're
oppressive regime,
relevant.
as they would
Yeah,
call
I'll
it,
try
of
to
the
do
Imperium or
I
other
feel like
places,
the
then
Iriel
Maelstrom
stream
might
will
the place
be
for you, and I'm
like
sure he's
one
a very
reading, which will be quite easy to do.
leader. Speaking of Huron Blackheart, he does not come alone. The Masters of the Maelstrom are joined by this box.
He
set.
comes with
Everything
his
you see
buddies.
here comes in a
Lovely,
big
like
box
all
called the
good
Lords of
leaders.
the Maelstrom, and is essentially the heart of a Red Corsairs army. It's got
What's that Dark Angel's
loads of
helmet
great,
doing there?
models
What's
in it,
that about?
including some brand new ones. Let's
Outrageous.
take you through what you can see in here.
Yeah, so some of these miniatures, all of these miniatures will eventually be available separately. Some of these are old miniatures with upgrade kits. Some of them are brand new miniatures. These are Raiders. They are a brand new miniature set. These are effectively the elite of the Red Corsairs. They sit somewhere between Legionaries and Chosen in terms of power and hierarchy.
Love how it's much more Mark
and they
7.
are
It's
the
so fitting.
veterans of the Barab Wars and the various different conflicts within the
Look at that
Maelstrom.
hairstyle. That is
As
something,
far
isn't
as
it? Look at that.
in game, they are a really useful little unit. They have infiltrate. They have
Bring
3
on
wounds each. They
Pancreas
have
for
a really
Iriel.
respectable
Yeah,
combat
yeah, trouble with message.
stat line, and they've also got things like melter guns and power fists and stuff that you can put into the unit. So a really useful all-round unit.
Yeah, and they're not just great in terms of game rules, but also the models are fantastic, right? This is the personification of what it means to be a renegade Chaos Space Marine. You're existing outside of the structures of the these mighty Space Marine legions. So a lot of their war gear looks scavenged, and the plate armor and so on is sort of cobbled together.
It's always
They've got
funny,
lots
isn't
of
it? Because they're so
trappings on them
cleanly
from various
painted.
battles and enemies
Like
that
they're
they fought. It's
scavenged,
really quite exciting to
scavenged
see.
together.
Lots of them have got like pelts of wild animals or
Yeah,
coarse
absolutely.
hair, as I like to call it.
Oh, very good, very good. There's more within this box set. Next up, you can see the Chaos Terminator squad. These are the Chaos Terminators that you already know and love if you're a Chaos Space Marine
do
player.
look bigger, though,
the
don't they?
difference here being they have new sculpted detail shoulder pads, which are included within this box set. So essentially,
Something.
you can just tailor them to look like Red Corsairs. Obviously, Chaos Terminators are
This is a big deal, though. I don't think Red Corsairs have ever had this detail.
Via the
This
medium of
much focus
shipboarding
before.
actions and
Yeah,
so
there's,
on.
there's quite a lot of Chaos Terminators that show up in some of the Red Corsair Black Library stories as well.
Yeah,
So this is
absolutely.
very thematic for them to have. I think they look great in red and black as well.
It's a
don't they?
really striking
It's
colour
a good
scheme,
colour
isn't it?
scheme.
Yeah, absolutely. Similarly, you have the Legionaries. This is the same kit. That
The
you
only
might
problem
be
I have
used
with
to,
these boxes and the
from
tightest
other,
box is if
Chaos
I
Space
just
Marine
wanted the
legions.
hero
And
model,
again,
I have
there's
to pay for the
upgrades
others.
that tailor them
Hopefully the
towards
characters
something
get
like Red
released solo
Corsairs,
at
so
some
you've got
point.
these
Yeah,
fantastic Red Corsair
but at
shoulder
least
pads. And
Okay,
then
this
you've
is a
got
bit
some
of
other
fluff. This
details
is a
as
bit
well,
of filler,
and
but
we'll show what they
at
look
least
like in a
most of it
moment.
is,
But you've got like heads,
you know,
and,
lots of new
some,
stuff.
It's like ammo belt
extra bits
cutler and
pieces, yeah.
trophies and
Oh,
that
there
sort
you
of
go.
stuff. There we go.
Perfect.
That is the whole upgrade kit. So you can see there you've got the Terminator shoulder pads. You've got the shoulder pads that fit Legionaries.
that
but they'll
face
also
paint, that
fit
looks
anything
great.
in that kind of like
Yeah,
size of
absolutely.
armor.
That's
If
such
you
a
want to
good
have
look.
some like Raptors or something, you could do those too. You've got some really cool unhelmeted heads
I think
there.
the heads are the most exciting.
The heads are
for
cool,
me
yeah.
out
I mean,
of this.
it's
They're
all
really
good, isn't
great.
it? And then there's some big transfers as well. So if you want to have like Rhinos and Land Raiders and Dreadnoughts and things that have the appropriate iconography on it, you can do that too.
Yeah, what you get with this transfer sheet is way more than you need to do just the models that come in the set. So if you're looking to build a big Red Corsairs force, well, you'll be able to. Right, that was all pretty exciting, but it's not done.
Renegades
There's
faction.
also the Traitor Guardsmen. These are the exact Traitor Guardsmen you know and love. They're just in red and working for the Red Corsairs, and they kind of exemplify all of those people that flock to Huron's banner.
Yeah, nice sculpts though, aren't
and
they?
sort of try and survive outside of the restrictions of the Astra Militarum and the Imperium at large.
That's fair.
Having a
We've
great
got
time.
one more miniature, I think. For
Yeah,
the Red
and
Corsairs.
so bringing up the rear is actually my favourite model out of this launch. I think the Reeve Captain really just hits home on what it means to be.
Isn't it
a
crazy
rare
that now
Renegade
Red
Chaos
Corsairs
Spacemarine?
have so many more
Just a
characters than the
fantastic
Black Legion
model.
do?
He's a multi-part kit, but the one
There are
right in
so
the
many
centre
like
is, the one that
beloved
really,
Black Legion
gets
characters.
me. Loads of detail, loads of plunder.
Yeah, it's a bit odd, really.
Bits and pieces from lots of battles, and he just looks incredible. And he's quite good in the game, right?
Yeah, so there's loads of options on the kit to start with. So this is a multi-part plastic kit. You've got a choice of 2 different combat weapons. They've got different stats in the game. You've got a sword and you've got a mace. You can have a plasma pistol if you want him to have, or you can have a bolt pistol. He is a very good addition to your army. He is a Reeve Captain. So I suppose might indicate that he's either maybe a veteran of the Astral Claws, maybe one of the previous captains, or maybe someone who's risen through the ranks of the Red Corsairs
Sandman,
since.
what
So he
did
is
the
somewhere
Mechanicum elements
thereabouts
attached
of
to the
Chaos
Word
Lord
Bearers
level in
fleets
terms of
think
his
about the
abilities.
Emperor stating he's not
he is
divine?
a little bit less
Wasn't
fighty
that a bit
than a Chaos
risky,
Lord, but he
seeing how
brings
he
more to the
accepted the
table in terms of
divinity as that
abilities
on
that
this
you can give
diet?
to your unit.
So
he has Infiltrate, which means
I don't
he's a
think
great
it is
addition to
necessarily
some of those Red
addressed
Corsair
from
squads we've
that
talked about
attachment,
before.
but there
So
is
he
a
can be right up
general
in the enemy
response to
space
that kind of
early on in the game.
mentality,
He
which
can
is that,
also,
as you can
get
imagine,
loads of
when
abilities
the
you can
Emperor
charge
says,
into close
I'm
combat,
not a
and
god,
lots of
a
stuff
lot of the
across the
Mechanicus
Chaos
do,
Space
or
Marine Codex
Mechanicum
that
do
allows
think,
you to
oh,
have
well,
things
clearly
like
he's
run and
God,
charge, so they stack
because
really nicely
he's
with
so
those.
humble.
So you can get an extra
If
point
he
of
was
strength,
God,
an
he
extra
wouldn't
point of
say
AP,
that.
and re-rolling
So it's
charges
basically
with
nothing
this
he can
guy,
say.
on that unit.
But
which might be
to be fair,
infiltrating right
the
through
ones
enemy
attached to
space,
the
which
Word
is a pretty
Bearers are probably
tasty
going to go
little
more dark mechanical
Nice.
side and be
and
far
worth saying as
more
well, with
interested
all of the
in
stuff that we've just talked
just
through there, you can absolutely
getting
do this
whatever
as a Red Corsairs army if you
boons
want.
they
If you
can
want
get
to
from
go all
signing
in
for
for
us.
Huron Blackheart and
The year of
go
chaos
with
we were
the red and
promised.
black of that force, you can. Or
The
you
reason
can
for
add
this is
these
people
into
see
any
Abaddon
other
as a
Chaos
fairly
Space Marine
overall,
army. So if you've
and
got an
Chiron
existing
as a genuine
Black
replacement
Legion
for the
army
War
and you want to
Master,
sprinkle a little bit of Red
alongside a more
Corsairs
worthy
into it,
choice
or
for that.
team them up with the Alpha Legion, you can have.
Damn it, Reddit.
Perfect.
Damn it.
We are not even halfway done with the stuff for this Maelstrom section. We've talked about Huron and the Red Corsairs. In that video that we saw at the beginning, we saw
That's only
another
half the
force.
pirates we have.
Exactly. So let's go and look at Prince Iriel and his Eldritch Raiders. So a little bit of a lore dump for you. If you're unaware, Prince Iriel is a
so
renowned
good.
Eldari hero. He is the saviour of Craftworld Ianden when it was under attack from the hive fleets of the Tyranids, and really solidified his sort of place in legend. But the thing he loves is to range across the galaxy, reaving, and at the head of this army of the Eldritch Raiders. This is a box set. Everything you see on here is included within it, and we'll take you through and have a quick look at all of those things. First out of the gates are the Corsair Skyreavers.
Yeah, so this is a really useful little unit.
And big box
Corsair.
set
You
from
can
Mike
include
Brooks.
these in a Corsair army or in a entirely Craftworld army if you want to. And this is a really flexible, fast-moving unit. You can kit them out in all sorts of different ways. They come as standard with Corsair blades and Shuriken pistols, which is a great little kind of
these just
combo to pick on isolated enemy units.
sweeping
You've
hawks?
also got the option
Whatever
to
they're called.
include quite a lot of different special
The
weapons
Baharoth ones?
in the unit. So if you want to make them anti-infantry, you've got
Are
things
they
like shredders and
notably
flamers.
different?
If you want to make them anti-tank, you can put fusion guns and stuff like that in the unit. And they've got a lot of movement abilities.
Sweeping
They come
hawks,
with
that's it.
scout, deep strike, and a reactive move ability as standard, which means they're going to be very hard to pin down. So they've got a phenomenal kind of objective game.
They are
Yeah,
a
they
bit
really
different.
play into that sort of hit and withdraw aspect.
Sort of
of
just
the
like, they
Eldritch
do kind of
Raiders
like
that makes them
team as
famous.
sweeping hawk.
They're also a lovely callback to some very classic Rogue Trader era artwork. If you're of a certain vintage like me, you'll recognise it, and it feels quite nice to see that sort of
Just another
imagery making it,
500
into
New
the
Zealand
modern
dollars.
Warhammer 40,000
Fair
tabletop.
enough. I mean, I don't think
in a
I'll be
similar
getting
vein
this
in
one,
terms of the
to be honest with
flexibility
you.
and the way they fight. There's another unit within this set. You'll be familiar with them if you've maybe
But
played
I am
Kill
very
Team
happy
over
for
the
those
last few
fans
years.
that want.
These are the Corsair Void Reavers. So it's the same kit returned, and they'll be in this Eldritch Raiders box. Tell us about the Void Reavers, if you would.
Yeah, so the Corsair Void Reavers are your kind of line Corsair infantry. That's a really flexible kit. You can build them as either a kind of battle line version or as an elite version.
To be fair, those kind of details
They
are
have loads
nice.
of different weapon options. So they're one of the
Look at this
most
little
flexible kits in
Drukhari
Warhammer
guy.
40,000
Awesome.
in terms of the different range of stuff you can give them. You can make them very anti-infantry or very anti-character or very good at shooting or combat or taking out tanks or whatever you need, really. The bits in the kit are really interchangeable with the other new Corsair stuff that's on its way as well. So it was already a really flexible unit, and now it's even more flexible in terms of how you can build it. And if you are a fan of kind of kit bashing stuff together, this is a dream, this box.
Yeah, absolutely. To lead these all into battle, there are two heroes within the Eldritch Raiders set, the first of which is Karseth. Karseth is a Void Dreamer. What is a Void Dreamer, I hear you ask? Well, a Void Dreamer is
a
type
big
of
bug
Eldar
helmet.
and Karseth specialises in being able to sense the subtle fluctuations in the fabric of reality. So one of the gifts that Karseth has is to detect warp translations. Imagine that you come out of the warp with your fleet and you're straight into the gun sights of the Eldritch Raiders sat waiting for you. That's quite the boon for Iriel and his team. Also, Karseth specifically coordinates the efforts of the Eldritch Raiders, making sure that they're all like working in synchronicity and firing together. You can imagine them.
I think he's in the
minds of the warriors and making sure that everybody's all on the same
PDF
page.
that came.
Yeah, so a really useful unit in game terms as well. This is an Eldar Psyker and comes with a ranged
to be fair, that is like an old
Farseer
style thing.
But the reason that they really pop is the special rules that come with them. One of them is the ever useful ability to stop enemy units deploying within 12, so they can see the future, you can never catch them off guard sort of thing. That's great to put on your backfield objective, or to just screen out large portions of the battlefield to stop things like Corsair Terminators teleporting behind you. That's not a thing that would be good for you.
Finance bros
the other ability
Jeffrey's
they have
just
is
boosted
if you manage to hit an
GW's
enemy unit with their
ET.
psychic
Expected
attack,
after those
all
earnings,
the rest of the Corsairs
they
that
released
fire into
last
that
earlier
unit
this week.
hit with an extra point of strength. So it's a really good synergistic unit to help the rest of your Corsairs hit even harder.
Perfect. And of course, they are led by none other than Prince Iriel. Prince Iriel is the outcast Prince of Iandon, and he's returned now with his Corsair fleet to deliver his craft world from annihilation once again by leading an army into the Maelstrom. He's equipped with the Spear of Twilight, a very famous weapon. It's extremely dangerous. He's on his eye. That bionic is called the Eye of Wrath. It's powerful in its own right. And he's a devastating
lose that spear power
leader, as well as an actual leader of warriors.
Yeah, so a really, a phenomenal miniature, right? Like it looks really cool. It's definitely a great glow up. But it's still very recognisably the Prince Uriel that we know and love. In game terms, he makes a phenomenal either leader for a Corsair army, or you can put him into a standard Craft World force.
It's time to
and he has a very useful ability to redeploy some of your units before the game starts. And he also has some boosts to whatever unit he's joined. So just a really good all-round leader and a combat stat line that punches up with some of the best.
This is a good way to start this stream.
Nice damage 3 weapon, which is the sweet spot for killing a lot of the best units in Warhammer 40,000 these days. So he can rough and tumble with the best of them, really.
And he's got 2 banners, and banners are the best. So
that's how you know he's good, right?
Yeah, right.
He looks like he's trying not
obviously,
to cough.
the other thing that you might have seen in that video
I
in the
can
army
see
shop
that.
we saw was this. This is the Starfang. It is an Eldari unit which is designed to go alongside the Corsair Raiders as they fight. It's pretty good in its own right. Eddie, can you talk us through it?
I absolutely can. So this is a really useful
I wanted more
little
pirate
utility
boat,
unit.
though.
So
I'm not gonna
first and
lie. I
foremost,
wanted a big
it has
pirate
a fairly
boat.
respectable amount
Build
of
my army
firepower.
around. Maybe
Its
that'll come as
firepower
well.
is geared to killing heavy infantry level stuff. So AP3, strength 6, 2 damage stuff. So it's a Space Marine killer in terms of its damage output. There's a disintegrator cannon you can see on the front of it.
How dare they?
But one of the other things that it does for your army, which is really useful, is it can make one of your infantry units have stealth. So its grenade launchers can basically like cover the one of your infantry units in.
It's that base bent. Look at that, it's sticking up at the
makes them harder
bottom.
to hit, which is really useful because a lot of your army is quite fragile.
Nice. One of the things that's really exciting about this is it is a twofer kit, as we sometimes call them. Essentially, the kit that's in the box, and eventually it will be available separately, also makes the Viper, which I believe is actually the name that the box will live under. This is a classic Eldari vehicle, which has been around for 30 years or more.
I think it's longer than 30 years.
Oh, you've aged me terribly. Yeah, this is a classic light attack vehicle. It's 2 crew. It's got that turret on the back.
Objective stealing.
And it's got a range of weapons available to it, right?
Bastards.
Yeah, so this is the updated Viper. It will be recognisable to anybody who's had a Viper. In
I
their
don't
army.
even feel the
It
need to
still
like
retains a
be
lot of
mean
the
to
key
Eldar
features that
fans.
you'll
This is
recognise,
actually pretty good.
But some of the weapon options are a little more flexible than they used to be. It still has the option of things like shuriken cannon. You can have a star cannon on there.
Leagues
you
of
can
Votann
have
mech
a bright
suits
lance.
next. Oh, mate, can you
Underneath
imagine?
the Viper, you also have the option now to put an Eldar missile launcher on it. So that gives you the potential to make it quite a good anti-tank unit. You can put 2 of these in a unit, so you can imagine 2 bright lances, 2 Eldar missile launchers shooting into something becomes quite formidable. Or you can get it out for pretty good anti-infantry with shuriken cannons and star
What
cannons.
would be
and that
awesome,
sort of
right,
Yeah,
is
so
if they
we've
could
got a really good
detach.
look at it,
The
in
top
person
part
on
could
the
like
desk.
come
It is
off,
a
and,
fantastic looking kit. It's got that
you get his
classic
own little
silhouette
model.
that you expect. If you build it the right way, the turret has some play, so you can maneuver a little. This is an heavy metal painted one, and I don't want to get in trouble,
touch it,
so I'm
really.
not going to fiddle with it too enthusiastically. And then, like, I guess,
Can you
the main
imagine if they did that on
difference is,
stream? That'd be amazing.
The, sort of the positioning of the turrets and the way they work. It's a really just a fantastic sort of innovation on a very classic.
You guys
design.
remember that when
The,
that Salamander
Viper's
supplement
been
came out?
Yeah, I mean the
feels
current
like
the current Viper model is
In the
lovely, but
Salamander
it's definitely showing
supplement,
its age a little bit around the edges.
like
So the crispness
the-
on the detail on this, some of the posability, the weapons, and that.
The guns for heavy metal painted models are often just blue tacked on, and so they'd blue tacked on these Salamander's arms, and they'd come off when they were taking the photos, and they didn't realize until the photos had come out and in the book, and so they just released this this Salamander supplement with this one-armed salamander.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, really exciting. Where do you learn about all of these exciting Corsairs, both the Red Corsairs and the Eldritch Raiders? Well, of course, we need a book for that. And here we go. This is the succinctly named Warhammer 40,000, the Maelstrom, Lair of the Tyrant into the Nightmare Realm. If you are familiar with Titus, which just released, I think, this is a very similar idea. So it's 4 books contained in a slipcase that detail all of the events that we've talked about and the characters and things, and some brilliant new and exciting ways to play Warhammer 40,000.
Yeah, so there's quite a lot to go through here. Just like the 500 Worlds books we've just seen released, there's loads of good stuff in here. Lair of the Tyrant is your lore book, so this dives into the history and environments and all the locations within the Maelstrom in a level of detail that we've never seen before. We find out about the key planets within that region, the bits that Huron is in control of, the various different battles that are ongoing. It's definitely not a unified empire, right? There are lots of factions all playing for their part and trying to carve out their little pirate empires within the Maelstrom. It also tells you all about the Red Corsairs and particularly Huron's bodyguard and his retinue that follows him round, and Prince Uriel and his Corsairs as they battle against the Red Corsairs for dominance.
Yeah, each of these books does a slightly different thing. For example, Crucible of Champions is quite exciting because it is encourages you to sort of create your own hero, stamp your own identity on them, which is a thing I love to do whenever I'm playing a game of Warhammer 40,000. I imagine the commander of my army is me, so that's very exciting. And obviously,
I think you make a great player.
Cooler than me because he's a Dark Angels company master normally. But you can sort of get different war gear and different special rules and all of that stuff to make really exciting and unique characters, and then use them in your games. Which is great.
Hey, well, more lore on the horizon.
Lair
So
of the
always
Tyrant
good.
detachments, as you might have guessed, has some detachments in. So one of the things that's worth saying about this book is, much like will happen with the 500 Worlds Titus book, all of the rules that are for match play will also be made available online and in the Warhammer 40,000 app, but you can also find them in print in Lair of the Tyrants, and there's some new detachments for Chaos Space Marines, as you'd imagine, and for Eldari.
Right.
So one of those detachments allows you, for example, to make a very heavily Corsair-themed Eldari force.
Perfect. Raid and Ruin lets you put together campaigns that involve things like...
These bits could be for Luther.
So,
That's true.
really exciting.
I mean, it could be for anything,
right.
really.
So this is not the only stuff that we've got to talk about with regards to the Maelstrom. We also have some new battalions. There's 2 of these. The first one is the Drukhari battalion, and is packed full of, let's be honest, raiders who are looking
They love
to...
piracy. They were kind of the original Eldar pirates, the Drukhari here, and this is a very heavily witch-themed box. So if you're looking to start a Drukhari army and you've got an eye on the gladiatorial pits of Comora, this is a great place to start.
It includes a succubus, 2 Venoms, 3 Reavers, 5 Hellions, and 10
Yeah, they really
Witches.
make me
So
question
loads
how
of
to
that
pronounce
witch-themed
things
stuff that you
sometimes.
were referring to before.
I would have thought everyone says
and a
Comora.
really good bedrock
No, I
for a
doubt
new
it.
Drukhari army, or just the reinforcements if you're already deep into that collection. There's another one. This is the Leagues of Votan Battalion, and that includes the Memnir
that is
Strategist.
not great,
and
I'll be honest
6
with you.
Ironkin Steeljacks
Not my
for them
favourite.
to control and get the best out of, and then 3 Hernkin Pioneers to sort of range ahead of the army and scout ahead. And again, ideal for exploring the Maelstrom and bolstering an existing Leagues of Votan force.
Yeah,
My drug
and
over
kind of a
witches,
nod
yeah.
as well that a lot of the lore in this Maelstrom book is relevant to a big chunk of Warhammer 40,000. Like
Yeah,
there are
absolutely.
loads of people within the Maelstrom all trying to carve out little mini empires. There's Orc freebooters and Drukhari and Leagues
Weird
of
that we
Votan
are
and
not
all sorts
following
of
up on
stuff.
And there's
500 worlds
opportunities
next.
in there.
Not like Arcs of Omen
it's
at
sort of
all.
untapped
Yeah,
those with the will to
especially with
claim
the
it,
Tau
yeah.
right there, the Votan right there.
Fantastic. So
Would have made a lot of sense, I think.
We've
But
been keeping an eye on some questions,
Hey-ho.
and I've got some that I will just quickly fire out here. So Prime Mod Hale
no Imperium
asks, will
campaign.
Huron
That's
and his
true,
mates be
actually. Yeah,
available
that
separately
is
later,
nice.
Or will
I
we
still think it'll be quite
condemned to a
popular, though.
character box?
So Huron is in the character box in the same way that Titus is. So
Yeah, absolutely.
there's 2 big boxes coming out initially for the Red Corsairs. One of them is the Red Corsairs Army, which is the Reeve captain leading a force of Red Corsairs, and the other one is Huron and his bodyguard. Everything in the big battalion box will be available separately, but I think for the moment Huron's staying with his retinue.
Yeah, absolutely. The next one is, can Huron's retinue join another unit?
I think
it's a unit in its own
so.
right and
It's a great
operates
question.
independently.
Let me find it.
So that is a good question.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Perfect. And then
I
a
suspect,
question, I think, regarding the Viper.
given that this has come so early, this does give me, maybe I'm
is
getting
the turret interchangeable. I think
too
if you
hopeful,
built
but
it carefully, you
I'll
might
suggest
be able
there
to
might be
change the
something
weapons,
even bigger
but
coming
I
up
think
in
once
the
you've built the turret,
rest
that's
of the
your
stream.
lot. So,
I haven't built it,
we'll
so I
see.
don't know for sure. You could
Perfect.
certainly have a go.
Yeah, absolutely.
You prefer that
keep your
new
questions
Leagues
coming
of
in.
Votan
We'll
box?
try and
I
answer
guess
some
it's
as
because I
we
don't
go
like
through.
those new
one last one from
Ironkin models. I don't think they
I've
look
said
very
your name
good.
wrong, I apologise.
Too
And
skinny.
your question is, which
I like a
factions can
stocky
be
boy.
played in the Maelstrom campaign? Absolutely loads of them. There's an enormous list which I won't go through, but it includes things like Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Space Wolves, Orcs, Freebooters would be great in there. Loads of things. The idea is that you can get involved and have good fun. So if you want to explore the Maelstrom and this terribly violent, chaotic environment, this would be a really good opportunity. For you
I'm
to do
quite sure that we will list the factions.
Isn't
that
it
you can
Wrath of
use on
Magnus? Yeah,
Warhammer
similar
3D,
idea. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
you can decide for
It's
yourself.
pretty
I think
common for
almost
how they
everything in
do.
Warhammer
so. Yeah, I would be surprised
Yeah.
if we've left somebody
how
out.
they
to be
do
honest.
these sorts of things, but
Perfect. Thank you very
it
much.
works.
We should press on. So.
There is a little bit more Warhammer 40,000 later on as well. Just
Yeah, that's fair to say. We
There
are
we go.
about
Okay,
to
we haven't
go
got
to
more
Mortal
coming.
Realms, but there's more Warhammer 40,000 later. But let's go to the Mortal Realms now.
My lord, Cass, you can't just solve all of our
This is like
problems by increasing
that bony
the
Necrons.
The hell I can't.
Not gonna lie, I think I could have voiced that better. I reckon I could do the best job of that one. So Aussie Oak Bone Reapers are the only AOS army that I have. So pretty cool. Those are some nice skelly boys. Really nice to paint as well, to be fair. Take a shot every time I say hey ho. Interesting. I didn't know I said hey ho that much, but there we go. I feel like skeletons with bowmen
Armies
are
of
such
the
a
Bone
staple.
Tides received some
It is
much
nice to have
desired
them.
reinforcements with this huge glut of models for the Ossiarch Bone Reapers. Eddie, let's talk about what we
Alright, I
saw.
think in the
guess.
meantime,
Yeah, so this is a fairly
need to have a look at
large
Prince
drop
Iriel's
of new
lore.
miniatures for
Absolutely.
the Ossiarch Bone Reapers. A lot of these units fill a really nice niche in the army that players have been looking forward to for a long
Yarg
time.
riding a
If we
Thunder
start
Hawk,
with
yeah.
the Mortex Triaxes,
okay.
we saw a Ossiarch with a bow quite a while back actually in a Warhammer Underworlds warband.
Yeah, Canaan's Hunters, I think.
Absolutely, and I think way back then people were speculating. Of course, Nagash didn't make just one bow, right?
Alright, so this is Prince Iriel lore from Grotmus Day 19. And he... The Chamber of Starfall's Sorrow was not a large hall by the standards of Craftsworthy Yandon. Still, its lambent colonnades and sweeping tiers of balconies seemed to swallow the presence and voices of those few within. Its emptiness was a reminder of long-lost days when barely a fraction of the Craftworld's nobility could have gathered within its wraithbone walls. The dark alcoves gazed down upon Uriel like empty eye sockets. The hushed space stole an echo, leaving spoken words as cold and unfeeling as the void. The council thanks you for your concerns, High Admiral. Iana Arianiel spoke gently. The Spirit Seer's head... that's not Bug Lady. Okay. The Spirit Seer's head was inclined towards Uriel in a symbol of respect favoured by her house. Her measured words were full of delicate intonations and subtle inflections. His noble rank demanded. They reaffirm, however, their commitment to the path laid by Iniad's prophet, she continued. Interesting. I mean, weirdly, this plays into my theory that Craftworld Yandon is going to get like a big resurrection under the Inari, because they need to do something with the Inari, right? So, it's going to happen.
That would be a really strange thing.
Chat, do you want to watch AOS or
Do
no?
they even see through eyes
I don't know.
anymore?
Who knows?
I'm not particularly... I like the models, but I'd rather talk 40k because we know more about 40k. Have you read Valador? Valador doesn't ring a bell, but I can have a look. Valador. Is that a Warhammer book? Ah, no, this is an Eldar book. No, I haven't read this one. No. I think the only Yandon thing that I've read is the Yandon supplement from like 7th edition. Interesting. Yeah, I miss the days when they used to do those like black and white and red covers. Just
Right.
all right. Keep it on for kit bashing potential. Yeah, that's true. That's true. There is definitely a lot you can do with these if you fancied it. But yeah, it's interesting. It's I mean, these models are great. I mean, there's like I did buy the Ozzy Bone Reapers when they got released some years ago because they are just fantastic models. You gotta give them that. But so far, I don't know. I feel like it's just there's yet to be a big thing to really pull me in. And I don't know why that is. I don't really know what it is, to be honest with you. But hey ho. But yes, I'm hopeful for that. You know, we saw how well Void Scar did last year, and it was one of the most popular books of 2025. And so the fact that the Corsairs are getting a whole new release, and with Prince Iriel leading it, who is one of the more popular Eldar characters, that puts it in pretty good stead. And maybe they will be pretty popular. And the Red Corsair is definitely up there in terms of popularity. So who knows? And yeah, like I say, there is always potential for a Bad Ab War book. So we'll see. Necron Kit Bash, yeah, weirdly I don't think I've seen that much, but like it's such an obvious one to do. Is just Kit Bash and Necron army using the Ozzy Bone Reapers army. It seems definitely a relatively obvious one, but it is yeah, I guess maybe it's too obvious that people just don't do it. 40k so far was mostly reboxes minus Huron and the company, of course. Yeah, that's true. I guess it depends on your viewpoint, because it's that thing with 40k where you are right, but because of the fact that we're so used to that with Warhammer, it doesn't like disappoint me because it's my expectation. But I can understand why a lot of people would be, if you might be disappointed that they weren't getting that whole new model ranges. But yeah, the Reavers and all those unique characters, I mean, that puts them, they have so many more characters than the rest of the Chaos Rangers, except outside of the God-specific ones. And that is bizarre if you think about it, that the Red Corsairs have the most, more than Night Lords, more than Black Legion. But hopefully it's a sign of things to come. And like people say, it's good to have, like, because Renegades often can get overlooked, like successor chapters can, and so it's good to know that Renegades are totally a thing, and Games Workshop are still making on. Anyway, chat, perfect time to ask me any 40k questions that you've got, anything about any of the books of last year as well. It's still that stuff's still on my mind. Area fights a Swarm Lord on like the third page. It's crazy. Haley really likes Ian. Well, that's good. That's good. I mean, I know Pancreas's army is Iandin, so he's probably having a good time with the Corsairs release. But I guess you lost a model if you're an Iandin fan. So yeah, I don't know how that works. If you're if Huron and the Red Corsairs are getting models, they were big in the Badab War, right? Does that mean we could potentially get Minotaurs and Moloch models someday? Sort of, yeah, I guess. I mean, I think that the popularity of the Red Corsairs largely stems from how popular the Badab War books were. But Huron Blackheart is what he is after that. So at the time, he just loved Huron. So it doesn't necessarily mean we'll get a Moloch model, but it's possible. It's definitely possible that that's what they're leading towards. And certainly, if that box does incredibly well, it tells Games Workshop that the Badab War stuff is crushing it, and it means much more likely to get models in the future. Moloch used to have a model. I don't know if you can still buy it, actually, but he definitely used to have a model. Don't think you can buy it anymore. No, I'm afraid not. Yeah, I don't think you can buy it anymore. But yeah, he used to have a model that you could buy, as did quite a few of the characters from the Badab War series. So they might come back. They might come back. I mean, certainly, like, you know, Tyberos has got to get a model at some point. The Carcharodons have so many novels, and he's not like the focus, but he's definitely the most popular character. Will Cypher be a fallen or a risen? Such a good question. My suspicion is, if I had to guess, my suspicion is that the lion will have to kill Corswain or Cypher, because the lion's thing is like, if you are touched by chaos, then you'll have to die. So at the end of Lionel Johnson's Son of the Forest, he still kills one of the fallen who had aided the lion in his final battle. And the reason he kills him is because he was touched by chaos, and so he just couldn't be allowed to live. So my suspicion is Cypher is, even if he started off as just like a loyal Dark Angel and knew it, because of everything he's had to do, like he worked with Abaddon, he has done all kinds of crazy stuff over the last 10,000 years. My suspicion is he'd have to be killed, but I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to see him done properly. Out of curiosity, who is your least favorite Legion? Least favorite? It's a good question. I mean, like I'm a story guy. Do you know what I mean? So I probably get the least enjoyment out of the World Eaters in 40k because there's not really much story there. Like, I thought the Latara stuff in 40k was really good, and in Red Angel it was really nice to see them follow up on the Latara lore from Siege of Terra. But typically, of course, Angron is not a character. I know the Demon Princess is not bound to this reality, but Angron especially is just mad to the degree that it sort of made me a bit sad when Angron couldn't even recognize the lion. Not sad just like in terms of its a tragedy, but in terms of there's just nothing you can really do with that character now. And the Khan as well. Sorry, Khan. He's such a good character in 30k because he's descending into the madness, but he is also like the sensible one. So it's a bit of a shame. But for example, word bearers is the comparison. Like, I like how evil the word bearers are because there's so much you can kind of do with them in terms of the story. Like, Erebus is drastically underutilized in 40k, considering he's always in the winds, in the wings. Isn't all the original Badab War just Forge World crap anyway? Not really proper 40k kits. It was all original Forge World stuff. But a lot of that is plastic already because of the fact that a lot of it is Horus Heresy kits. So they've already effectively put a lot of the Badab War stuff into plastic. And so really it's just the characters. And we all know how well Space Marines do. Look at this guy. He's having a good time. We all know how well Space Marines do. And so a Tyberos the Red Wake model, it would just crush it. It would make so much money. It could do easily, probably the most popular chapter master model, something like that. I think I was going to compare it to the Primarch, but that's probably pushing it. But still, it will be really up there because he's such a legendary character. Have you read the Word Bearers trilogy? I talked about it a little bit in when I did a Lorgar stream, not a stream. I think it was a podcast a long time ago. Channel. I don't think the lion detects chaos. I think he detects loyalty to him. And if a Dark Age isn't 100% loyal to him, that's what he sees. In the book, it's more about chaos. He's more about sniffing out chaos now. But, I mean, he can still kind of detect loyalty to him, I guess. But Luther, for example, he has said he's definitely going to kill. Whether he professes he's loyal or not. My love for the Minotaur stems out of Varak's hate for them. Oh, does Varak hate them? Interesting. I mean, does he hate them because they fight the Imperial Fists? Is that the entire reason? Probably. Fair enough. Fair enough. The Fate Master looks good. Yeah. Do Custodians sell as well as Space Marines? Great question. I think they've definitely got to be up there because of the fact that Custodians have been like they were such a big release when they came out. Like actually, Quipster. That got Quipster back into 40k. Well, he was always reading the books, to be fair, but he wasn't into the tabletop for a long time. And the Custodians release, because Custodians are like, for most of 40k's history, Custodians are in 40k, like they're in Rogue Trader, but like they're not in 40k. You don't see them. They're not like a thing that comes up, very rare at all. Even when they come up in the Horus Heresy, that was a big deal to find out what the Custodians are really like. And so when they got a whole plastic release, it was massive. It was, that was such a big deal. So they have that release definitely did really well. But the range is so small, it got drastically hampered, I think, by like the kind of the amount you could do with it, and because so much of it was Forge World and all of their best kits were Forge World, it was just kind of I think it just puts a lot of people off. Like we were looking at some of those kits earlier. In fact, I think we've still got them. Some of these kits. I mean, you want to buy one of it pretty much eats dread. It's going to cost you $100 plus. Yeah, it's this Forge World nonsense, right? You got to buy the Telemon, and you got to buy the fist and the gun separately, which is about the almost what's that? 2/3 of the price of the Telemon just in the weapons. You have to buy them separately, so it just puts people off, right? But plastic Telemon, plastic Galatus, and plastic Achilles. Achilles, yes, Achilles. Like these would I think they do so well. So I probably not as popular as Space Marines, but definitely up there. Cavill buys every Custodians model. You know what was my favorite thing about the Henry Cavill when he did that post about Custodians? Is he in his post? I remember he hashtagged like something really random to the degree that, like, you could tell he was a proper 40k fan, because I think he hashtagged Adrasite. I think that was his hashtag, and I was like, I clicked it, and he was the only person. I was like, mate, you are a nerd. Like that's really, like, I was genuinely so impressed, because he'd like bought all of the upgrade kits for them to give them Adrasite spears, and I was like, that was incredible. Because my friend was asking me the other day, he was like, is Cavill actually like a 40k fan, or is it just like a job and he's doing it? I was like, oh no, I think he's genuinely super into it. I think he's yeah, it's not like a fake thing at all. I think he truly loves what he has done. Look at this. See, look at them moving away from the cow ladies. Nobody cares about your cow designs, Games Workshop. I love when an interviewer tried to get him to condemn toxic fans, and he brought the interview up on it. Interesting. I don't remember that, but yes, no, it's good. I mean, it's good. For example, there is a lot of like crap that does go on with people just trying to like demonize everything in the world. And the truth is, you're allowed to say you preferred things a certain way. There's literally nothing wrong with that. And I've never understood the people that are like 40k canon isn't a thing. 40k canon doesn't matter. It just makes no sense to me. Aren't all British 40k fans? That is true. I mean, that's true. I mean, you have to do at least 3 years of Warhammer study in high school, but after that, it's up to you. You can drop it. It's an elective. I just switched to Custodians as my main army after amassing 5,500-ish points of Dark Angels. Damn it, mate. I just love them. To be fair, all of my Forge World stuff are recasts. You can in no way tell, but I just love the design. One thing about the Custodians that I will say is that if you are someone like me who isn't a particularly good painter, you can get some fucking good quick custodian paint schemes, you know. Like a lot of these guys are mostly gold, and there's a lot of really good custodies, gold custody sculpts. That's how to do Mr. Oh, hey Andy, yeah, sorry, someone was asking about where to learn Kill Team, and I said that you have a really good channel, so yes, do check out Glass Half Dead if you want to learn Kill Team. In fact, lots of the miniature games, in fact, he does. Blood Bowl. See, these are also so epic for kit bashes because there's just, yeah, they're just so emotive, and yeah, there's so much you can do with them. And I've seen quite a lot of people use Blood Bowl teams for kit bashes, but it's interesting. There's actually there's actually a guy that, at my wife's work, I was talking to, like some function thing they had, and he's really into Blood Bowl, and I was like, you know, when you find that Warhammer person, you're like, yes, this is now what we're going to talk about for the next hour. That's we need a king in yellow model. I mean, Faley, I'd love you to be correct. That would be nuts. I mean, I would scream. I think I don't know what I'd actually say. It would be shocking. The UK citizenship test is how many Primarchs are there. You know what? My wife asked me. I was so angry earlier. She asked me. She was looking at my live stream from this week on Wednesday, and she was like, "Who are those two guys? Are they related?" And I was like, "That's the Lion. Like, how would you not know that? Like, do you not? I have to listen to her work stories, right? How does she not know who Lionel Johnson and Rabute Gilliman are?" Yeah, so the divorce will be soon. Prime black, dry brush gold, and lighter dry brush, light gold, and you're done. Well, the thing is, even with that, Will, right? Like, the thing is about the contrast paints. Yes, contrast paints look great, typically, generally, but I think contrast paints look so good over metallics. They look amazing. So even just like spraying silver and then picking any kind of yellow, orange, or whatever, or like any of the flesh paints over, just spraying them Retributor gold, they look so good. I think they look amazing, and then you can just go in and paint the details. You have a great time. Would love more better merch for custodies. Yeah. I mean, maybe today I'll be start something big, because yeah, it was interesting to see someone else earlier, like, how popular are custodies, and like I feel like a lot of it has been hampered by the fact that the range has been Forge World, because Games Workshop took the advantage of them knowing that custodies would sell well. But if they do plastic models that are, you know, a custodies army will effectively half in cost for a lot of people, I think, if they do them all in plastic. So who knows? Did we just become best friends moment? Yeah, totally. The marriage was good when it lasted. Yeah. She's currently on my sister's hen party, so I'm gonna message her this. She knows them, just not how they look. Yeah. To be fair as well, they're like half naked. This was like artwork that Amber King had done, I think. And so they're like half naked in that photo. So she was like, "What's going on there?" And I was like, "Hey, it's 40k. We're allowed to walk around shirtless. It's like just a thing we do. And that's how all 40k tournaments are. It's not our fault." But hey. Sell the kilt. Can you trust their opinion? Yeah, true, brother. True. Need to sit her down and give her a prime on the War in Heaven. Yeah. Well, so when they did her hen party, like her friends, they asked me to do like a Mr. and Mrs. thing, and I slipped in some questions at the end because I was just kind of curious. I was like, how many questions could you get? So I asked her to name 3 Primarchs. I asked her to name 3. I think she got 2, to be fair. She knows Sanguinius and she knows the Lion. But of course she calls him Lionel. She thinks he's really funny. And once again, divorce. So it was, yeah. But I was like, yeah, I mean, I feel like she should know better by now. My dream merch would be an Indomitus Terminator plushie. That would be great. That would be great. I mean, there's a lot of cute little things. I'd love a Watcher in the Dark plushie. I think that would be really cute. And then because you have like the what's he called? Sassy Nurgling and all that kind of thing. I think a Watcher in the Dark would be great. A Watcher in the Dark dressing gown. Oh my god, that's actually genius. I should do that. Can I do that, Games Workshop? Fine. Oh, what's this?
For too long, Vision 4 has been bereft of the Emperor's light. Like so much of our benighted Imperium, it clings on.
I'll turn up slightly.
A candle flickering in darkness. Our mission is of sacred importance. The enshrinement of our fallen Canoness Rexilla. She will be a beacon, a rising call to the faithful.
I hope my friends carry on my
She
skull.
will mark Vision 4 as a shrine world. The Emperor's flock will come, and with them, new hope. The foulness of the orcs shall be driven from this place. We shall risk everything for this. We will not fail, for to do less would be to fall short of what our Emperor demands. By fire and faith, we...
We've all had work meetings where we wish that would happen. So, fair enough. Yes. There's no oxygen that's stopping now. That's a health and safety compliant, isn't it?
His test begins.
Nice. I'm excited for that. Quality looks good.
Eddie, that was awesome. What can you tell us about Penitent?
Yes, this is a new animation on its way for Warhammer
Nice.
Plus. This
Better
is
than
an
Penitent, the
Adeptus
movie? Is that what they're saying? Is that
animation
confirmed?
Featuring the Order of the Sacred Rose, which is I think we haven't seen before.
I'm so
they
excited
are on a
for
sacred
Ryan.
mission to found a new shrine world. They have a sacred relic.
Pandemonium,
they have to
the
get into
animation.
shrine world.
That'll be coming next year, I
Obviously, the
reckon.
mission doesn't quite go to plan, as you saw there. Their ship is intercepted by some orcs and downed, and then they have to trudge across this wasteland to get their relic to where it needs to go. The orcs in this are snakebite orcs.
After the
Which is pretty cool.
scouring,
We haven't really seen snakebite orcs.
after the scouring, do you think that the Great Crusade or Unification Wars could be next? Oh, when I click that, it actually comes up. That's awesome. So I reckon, yeah, like the comment said, I do think a Bad War book will be on the horizon, largely because of how popular the Krieg book was, and just how popular the Bad Wars are generally. Bad War is generally. But in terms of Unification Wars, I feel like a book in the Unification Wars would work fine, but I don't think the Scouring series will ever be done, not for decades, because like, where do you stop it? Do you know what I mean? Do you just keep going? Order of the Sacred Rose, let's go. I mean, that white armor does look good. I'll give them that. I'll totally get, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Oh, it's just YouTube just duplicating it for me. Yes, so I do think it will be, yeah, we'll have it for a long time. Oh, bloody hell. All right, sorry, I'm going back a minute.
Tell you when we're going to go to all the way back to the Age of Darkness with this.
Okay, so it's a Horus Heresy. And that quality is up a bit, isn't it? Atari, he says. Man. That shield capsule on this good. Damn. Fair enough. Well, Quipster will be a very happy boy.
So excited by everything
As
that we
will
just
Henry
saw there.
Caps-
We
Henry
have
Cavill.
the
Henry
forces of
Capsule.
the Legio Custodians for the Horus Heresy. Everything in that video we're going to talk about. Let's start with what you can see on the screen right now.
To be
this is a
fair,
box,
the
isn't it?
poses
Yeah,
are
this
always
is
going to be
the
dull
The
because
Legio
they're
Custodians battle
bodyguards.
group, and this is coming out as part of the launch. Everything in this is a new plastic miniature, and it just looks incredible. You've got two sodalities of custodians. You've got a dreadnought, a shield captain, and a grav tank. Let's talk about those in detail. These, of course, are the Custodian Guard Sodality. Eddie?
This is a Custodian Guard Sodality. They are the archetypal image of a Custodian. They are towering Guardians, each one with a Guardian spear, able to chop the enemy up in close combat and blast them apart at range. They are a brand new plastic kit, a slight readjustment, I suppose, of the proportions of the Custodians, but still very recognisably.
You can't put a helmet over that, can you?
The Guardians of the Emperor, and still in the Horus Heresy at this point, successful.
Yeah, absolutely. They
look a lot more streamlined, don't they?
The kit is, as I said, it was multi-part plastic. There's some options in there. You've got these high-helmed, high-plumed helmets that you can see here.
Are they
There's
redesigned? These are heavily
that you can
redesigned.
build your models,
It's been
whether
slimmed
they're
down a
willing to risk
lot.
getting shot on the face or not. That's your choice. And then there's option for
cloaks
the
look much more
Vexilla in there, so you can carry
finer.
proud standard of Imperial rule.
Yeah,
on
you've
the
also got
battlefield.
all the Misericordia, as you'd hope as well.
Yeah,
the little
absolutely.
kind of stabbing daggers that the Custodians have.
They're just dripping in all the paraphernalia and apparel that you'd expect from the Emperor's most elite warriors. Here you can see some of the different heads that are available to the kit. So you can do a mixture or all of one style, whatever it is that suits you really. You've already said it, but for me, this is the quintessential image of the Legio Custodes, right? These like
They are very skinny.
sort of spear wielding.
I don't know if that's what Custodes fans want.
They're not the
Not my
only
faction,
Sodality
though, I
in
don't
the
know.
Custodes Battle Group box set, though.
40k
You also have the
Custodes are
Sentinel
chunkier.
Guard, who are essentially the same kind of unit, but these are equipped with Presidium shields and Custodian Warblades.
Yeah, so another effectively battle line unit of Custodians. A normal Custodian, such a word can be used to describe a Custodian. These ones
swords
are a
look
little
great,
bit more
don't they?
defensive and a little bit less killy, but every Custodian is a master of
Like
death
that.
and very,
I
very
don't
durable.
like them,
These ones
yeah.
have shields, which in your games of Horus Heresy can allow them to use shield war special rules and make them a bit more durable against incoming fire, which is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're invulnerable.
The thing is, they're a real pain in the
These-
arse to
they're
play
just
against
great. And
the
so
book
essentially you're
in
just making that
30k
choice, aren't you,
because
between these two units?
2 up
little
armor
bit killier
saves
for an
are
Yeah,
actually really
and
quite
you
good.
probably, in truth, want a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Of course, there was more in that big army shot that
Look
we
at
saw
that,
than
Nos.
just these two
I know I'm not
Sodalities.
one to talk,
Next
but
up,
that is a
we have the
conqueror,
Shield
isn't it?
Captain. I am unapologetic in that this is my favourite of the models in this Custodian release. I genuinely think this is incredible. The level of detail that they have captured on it is so good.
That's a much better
It
pose.
comes with a couple of options. Here you can see the helmeted head and the unhelmeted head. I really like that golden laurel wreath that has been sort of woven into her hair. If you don't know about Custodian Shield Captains, these are essentially a top tier fighter on the battlefront.
I thought he was going to
They
say
can go
these are
against
essentially
anything
their
up to and
captains.
probably including the first captains of the Space Marine Legions. If you're not a Primarch, it is not a pushover. And even if you are, be careful.
Yeah, a shield captain backed up by a squad of Custodians can happily take on a Primarch level character.
Better proportionally
and up
coated. Well,
against
that is
anything
true.
That's a
That
Space
is true.
Marine. Unless
No,
you've
much better
got
than that.
a very, very impressive sword of some sort, you're definitely going to come out on the
No
wrong
rules of
side of that
40k.
fight. The
Yeah, I
miniature
mean,
is
most of the
absolutely
options you can make
dripping
work,
in
though.
detail. I think one of the things you can just see in that rotating image there is the text on the inside of the shield.
We got quite excited about this earlier on, didn't we?
So one of the concepts of Custodians generally is that they write their honor name inside their armor, and the idea here being that the titles that this warrior has achieved throughout their career has been so extensive that the achievements have gone beyond their armor and onto the shield itself.
Yeah, absolutely. A really fantastic model, and I wonder if we'll be talking about this as one of
I
the
like
models
to
of the
imagine
year
it's
this
just in
time
case they
next year.
like forget their lines.
There's more
they just
inside this
look
battle
at their
group
shield.
than we've shown
You
you
know
so
that
far.
scene
We'll go to
when,
the vehicles. So first of all, you have the Custodian
in Lord of the
Dreadnoughts.
Rings, when like
there's two variants. You can choose which one you're going to build. The first of which is the Contemptor Achilles Dreadnought. It is equipped with an Achilles War Spear, which is like
Sean
the
Bean.
length of 3 men.
Sean Bean
It's
like,
just
looks
a
at his leg to
giant
read the
guardian
lines.
spear,
Yeah,
basically, isn't
absolutely.
it? If you get put inside a dreadnought and
Yeah,
you've been
it's
a
nice.
custodian, you're like, I really like stabbing people with a spear. Can I continue to do that?
kind
And the
of want
answer
that
was a
model.
firm yes.
Yeah, and it's phenomenally dangerous. Big damage. It can. It's got armor bane, so vehicles are in real trouble.
I feel like I can make
For
the Sword
me,
and
this
Shield
is my
one work for the
favourite of
Dark
two,
Angels.
and we'll show you the other one in a second. But look at the
Galatas,
pose that you've
Galatas.
got on it. This kit is really poseable. They've made the most of these.
So
sort
just
of
more
multi-part
names
plastic
and titles of
functionality
Valdor.
that this kit enables
Pretty
to give you something really
that
special.
Valdor has most.
Yeah,
I think Valdor
the,
has like 1,000.
Contemptor Dreadnoughts, all of the Contemptor Dreadnoughts, but
yeah, something
particularly
like
the Custodian ones, have been available in resin before, obviously,
Yep.
and they've always been kind of highly posable. None of that posability
Interested
has
to
been
see
lost
how
in the
much this
transition to
costs,
plastic, and actually
'cause this
it's
is
now
like
an even
a-
easier
could be a
material to
massive
work
saving
with,
compared
and
to
you've
the
got
resin.
more options and ways of building. So you can include half a dozen of these dreadnoughts in your army if you wanted to, and every single one of them could look completely unique and different in terms of posing.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's look at the other one.
We get male sisters. That's the
I
question.
think this one's my favourite. I think
That's the question.
he looks absolutely awesome. There's something about a dreadnought with a massive shield and a massive sword that just absolutely works for me.
I don't like this transfer.
And it mirrors
I want
the two
something
different
that's
core unit types within the custodians,
Exactly
right?
so.
You've got one with the spear, the more aggressive one. You've got one with the shield and the sword, the more defensive one. So if you wanted to, you could pair them up, right? You could have the shield one walk around your shield custodies and your spear one go alongside the warriors that they fought with in life.
Yeah, the Contemptor Galatus has the Galatus Warblade. That is just going to cut through like medium and heavy infantry like nothing. A thing to bear in mind about these is every dreadnought is piloted by like a fallen warrior, right? That is entombed within the sarcophagus. Just bear in mind that the warrior that is
maybe they'll
was
reserve
a custodian, the
alongside
absolute
this.
fighting elite of the
Plastic.
Imperium, handpicked and created by the Emperor. These are really, really dangerous on the tabletop. In addition to all of that armor, they're phenomenally skilled warriors still.
Yeah, a very, very good stat line.
This look
They
like scared
can
of
wade
Sigmar.
into whole
You are right.
phalanxes
There
of,
is
enemy
there
Space
is a
Marines and
familiarity there
Yeah.
between
Very
Sigmar
satisfying. They look great, though.
the new
The
custodians.
final
How
thing that's
slim they are.
inside that custodian.
That's the main thing I
battle
always think of
box
when I look at
is
Sigmar.
this is the Caladius Annihilator Grav tank. We'll talk more about other Grav tanks in a
What
minute.
is that
But
price?
essentially,
Currently,
think of
it's
this
probably-
as
it's
a
gonna be a
main
lot,
battle
isn't it?
tank for the Legio Custodes force. It is equipped
Currently
with an
160
Arachnus Blade
116
Blaze
pounds.
Carronade, which is the sort of double-barreled weapon you see on top. This is a devastating ranged weapon with 2 fire modes. The first of which is anti-tank.
I used to hate
You're
these
thinking
things.
2 shots at
They were
strength 10,
custodians, so
just
they'd always hit on
blasting
twos.
vehicles
Armor Bane.
apart. Yeah,
Nice.
absolutely. And then its alternate fire mode is multi-shot and is great at gunning down heavier infantry.
Yeah.
So a thing that we were talking about before, and I think you made a really good point of, was stuff in the Legio Custodes force needs to often do 2 things.
Yeah, because you're almost always outnumbered,
Yeah.
both in terms of how big your units are, but also in terms of how many units you have on the battlefield. So it's not enough that you've got a unit that's very good at killing tanks. It might also need to do some double duty to, pitch into the battle against enemy heavy infantry or support your units, whichever thing is currently giving you challenges. So most units in the Custodian army are quite good at several things.
Yeah, absolutely so. Those are the units that make up the Custodian Guard battle group that we've shown at the start. There are more units coming along the way.
Yeah,
also,
that'll be the
plastic.
first thing you can buy. That'll
Absolutely.
be if you want to go all in for a new Custodian army, that'll be the first thing. But your reinforcements are hot on their heels.
Exactly so. So next is the Caladius Grav tank. It is very similar to the Caladius Annihilator Grav tank. It's just not an Annihilator. Instead, it has an Iliastus accelerator cannon on its roof. Think Sikaran battle tank from the Space Marine Legions, if you know the setting and you know the war gear, is similar but upgunned version of that kind of weapon. So decent fire rate, gonna maul medium and light vehicles and pretty much any infantry you put in front of it. This is a big, heavy-duty tank.
Yeah, it's another great option for a line battle tank. You won't get many tanks in a Custodian army just because everything costs so many points, but there's certainly a place for one of each of these in a 3,000 point force.
Yeah, absolutely. Sticking
Please buy
on
our
the
models.
theme of the Grav tanks, we have the biggest of all of them, which is the Coronis Grav carrier.
Whoa.
This thing is enormous. We've got one on the desk in front of us. We'll show
That's
you
a
in
big
minute.
boy.
But essentially, this is big enough that it can carry an entire sodality of Custodian Guard and an
Currently
accompanying hero.
160
You get
pounds.
a kind of a sense of how big it is there because you can see the Custodians next to it. Remember that those are Terminator-sized miniatures, so this is a big old tank.
It really is.
That'd be quite a bit taller than
it's
Terminators,
not
though, isn't it?
unarmed as well. You can see the guns on it. But the one to talk about maybe is the Neutronium Cascade Projector.
Sounds cool.
We'll tell you more about that another time. But essentially, it's a powerful gun in its own right.
No,
so in addition to
yeah, that is a
disgorging
bit of a shame.
the
really.
most elite fighting units in the galaxy onto the tabletop, it's also hosing you with devastating firepower.
And all of these are plastic as well. This is
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
huge plastic kit.
Like one day they bring back the Gothic
Additionally,
battleship
you might have
tabletop.
seen in the video that we saw before,
that would be
we
great.
have the Venetari sodality. So these are elite hunter-killer strike troops within the Legio Custodes, borne aloft on these sort of gold wings, on contrails of fire, diving deep into the heart of the enemy.
Yes, this is your kind of rapid strike, fast attack choice for the Legio Custodes. You've got a couple of options there. You've got the spear, or you've got
interesting
the
that they're not
buckler
doing one
and
for
pistol.
40k.
Both of those are very lethal. They also all come as standard with
Specifically
Misericordia
marketed them
and
for
effectively
Horus
like
Heresy.
ancient grenades from a bygone era that are more powerful than even things like the melter
Because these
bombs
guys are
of
not in the Codex
Space
as of
Marine
Yeah,
Legions.
yeah,
tanks.
these are some dangerous guys.
Yeah.
The
Dreadnoughts.
kinetic destroyers, which is the sort of handgun-looking thing you can see, it's a really powerful hand cannon. Basically, the Tarsus buckler reduces the strength of incoming enemy fire. or if you equip them with the Veritum Lance, say that fast, really great on the charge. So
I want my
options
Blood
a
Angels
go-go for
wings.
you to
Yeah.
get
Just
the
in
most
case
out.
your
feel you
custodians
earlier.
weren't scary enough, now they're
They
faster
look
than
great
everyone
with
as
the
well.
wings.
And there's
Yeah,
no
With the
escape.
you can see here the front. I believe that is the
You know what's sad
Neutronium
is in the Lost in the
Cascade
Damned
mine.
artwork, they still
yeah,
have-
I think you're right.
delivering
the,
fun into the heart of the enemy.
SM.
All of this stuff and where you
check
find
the
it
comments. How do I
in
load the comments on
the
this?
Custodes Liber,
I
which
just-
we'll show you here. There you go. It's a big book. It's hardback. It's lovely. It's full of all the lore and the stories and
load the comments,
information
I
that you
don't
need to learn about the Legio Custodes. Oh, I nearly Adeptus them. And in addition to that, it talks about other elements of the Imperial household. So
Yep, so you've got the
maybe I can load it
Anathema
another
Psychana, with the Sisters of Silence, and you've also got the Assassinorum.
Yeah.
So you've got all the various tools of the
Heresy
Imperial
Bob
household.
for scale here.
The
Happy
stuff
little,
that,
solo
the Emperor kept to himself on Terra as his
A
personal
lot of people
army.
sharing
All
your
very, very
anger earlier
powerful,
about Blood
forces
Angels
in their
getting
own right.
shit.
yeah,
getting-
perfect. So we've got the models in front of us. It'll be fun to do a little bit of show and tell. First of all, we have a little stunt guy in the front.
Heresy
This is
Bob for scale here.
A happy little solo auxilia, and let's just stand him alongside the shield captain for context and scale.
It's going to get you a nice close in a second, guys, just so you get a sense of how big these are.
I'll slide him back. Oh, so nervous.
That is big.
touching these and don't want to script
Break it, don't break it.
Tell me about it. So the Custodian Guard are big, right? These are the
would happen if
pinnacle
they
of
broke it?
the gene
what I
crafting
mean?
that the Emperor does when he's creating his elite warriors. The only thing better, I suppose, is the Primarchs.
Yeah, I can see chat
you
is
can go wrong.
acting.
Half of
as
them
you
went
might
bad.
imagine.
Yeah,
So, I
right,
mean,
so-
maybe they're the best they got.
And then you can see the scale of the other things. So you put the little
Unfortunately,
guy
I think
up
YouTube might
alongside the
get me in
ground
trouble
carrier.
if I put that
It's
on
just
screen.
enormous. This thing is huge. If I spin it round, you can see the entrance hatch.
It's like bigger than your hand, Adam. It's,
Yeah.
it's a big old thing.
So it's got this really cool entrance hatch. I was looking at some frames and that's detailed on the inside. So I think if you're one of these modelists who likes to do that sort of thing, you might be able to like have it open or make a
Tactical
diorama or
rock.
whatever
You know
you
what?
want to do.
Maybe controversially, but I actually
Yeah,
don't
so
mind a
I think
tactical rock.
People are going to have a lot of fun with
Their
this.
chat are going
And,
crazy.
the
Yeah,
size of the thing.
It's really cool,
going
isn't it?
nuts.
What else is there to say on these? We should talk a little bit about the dreadnoughts. If look at
you know
sort
that
of
right
chest
now,
armor on them,
these two guys
Yeah, so
are
there's a few
dreading
different
life.
options on there. Actually. I was
Looking at
the
that
kit
chat.
Before.
They
You've
knew
got
this was
options
coming.
for things like the shoulder pads. So if you've got multiple dreadnoughts, you can have slightly different shoulder pads. There's some nice little areas for heraldry. So these ones have got some heraldic devices designed onto them. There's some different faces, I think, in the kit. You've got some different.
You kill someone with
chests,
that Corrodus tank. I
obviously
tell you what, you could
weapons.
definitely kill
You've got
someone with
loads
the
of ways of
resin
making
versions
these
because
really
they're
different.
just blocks.
There's loads
They're
of
just,
detail on them.
just a
so,
brick of resin.
A lot of it's kind of sculpted on, so
Right in
you
the head
can
of
paint
that,
them
you go
very
down.
quickly if you wanted to. If you want to, spray
big
them
tail
gold,
devilfish.
put a wash on
It's a
them.
big
They
tail
look pretty
They're
great.
almost ready for war.
Yeah, they're
at that
kind of
point,
ready.
aren't you? Yeah,
But
absolutely.
also, if you wanted to spend hours and hours and hours and make these, the best model you've ever
Some
painted,
chats
they're
won't
a
go
fine
through all of a
canvas for that
sudden.
as well.
I was just
They're
asking you a
really,
question.
really lovely
Yeah,
models
so
to,
YouTube has a
put your
thing
hobby hours
where
into,
they-
and it's really nice out of it. The other
they
thing that
have-
is worth saying about
yes, there is
a
there
lot
is
of
a
these
thing
witches
that
is
will
they
block
obviously
certain
have some
like
dual
keywords
purpose in Warhammer
or
40,000 as well.
Absolutely.
So
or
if you have an
yeah, I
Adeptus
don't know how
Custodian's
it works,
army,
but yeah,
things
they're-
like the dreadnoughts,
if
obviously
you
are
say a
already
word that
data
YouTube
sheeting
doesn't
your
like,
force. You
and it's of
already
course
have
going to be
data
based
sheets
on
for things
whatever
like custodians
crappy
with
AI they
guardian
used to
spears,
do it. So
with shields,
even if you ask something
shield
relatively
captains,
innocuous,
yeah.
if the
Shield
AI
captains as well,
pings, it
so
will just
lots
delete
of
it.
these, if
I
you
see
wanted
it
to
comes
put
up
them
on
into
my
your
end as well.
40,000 army,
It'll
there's
just say like,
absolutely no reason not to.
I can't see the message. It's just like
So
message
we're not
redacted
done
or
with the
whatever.
Horus Heresy. There's still more. There's obviously a little bit for the Legiones Astartes. First up, we
Yay.
have the Legion Glaive Super Heavy Tank. You were really excited about this
I
one.
think this is my favourite. This is my favourite super heavy, and I think it's mostly
it's a
because I just
big
love
chunk of
Volkite.
Volkite.
There's something
It
about
is a
it.
cool
It's just
looking gun, isn't
like
it?
intrinsically heresy for me. And this is the largest plastic Volkite gun we have ever seen, not counting things like stuff on Titans that we might have seen in epic scale.
Yeah,
in
in
the
tiddly
past.
tiny scale.
But it is an absolutely enormous tank. It is obviously the Fellblade is the same chassis, but this has, I think, a cooler looking gun. I know
Unfortunately.
you're a big fan of
So
it.
much money.
Fellblade
Fellblade
is the
was-
one for me, but I can't deny the coolness of this. The panning shots that you're getting right now really just show how cool and detailed
To
this
kill
model
someone with
is,
the resin
right?
done-
That
you could
camera is
totally,
so
yeah.
close to the model.
One of the most
and it just
expensive
looks
murder weapons
just
in history,
crisp
I
and
imagine.
brilliant and exciting.
This one, of course, painted in Iron Warriors colours.
Yes, well-
it also looks equally good in the other 17 available colours.
Yeah, I would think so. Better maybe in the colours of the first, I think. But, you know,
blocked
who am
mine
I
for
to
saying
judge?
I prefer
It is a
captains and
Volkite
helmets.
carronade, if you're
Yeah.
wondering. It's just an enormous
See, I
gun.
don't know why it
Depth of
does that.
range.
It's just like
Your enemy
whatever
should you
AI
so
is
desire.
Great
they
special
use,
rules.
we'll just doing it.
It's not the only Astartes tank available. There was also the return of a stalwart
Astartes
of
to
the
save
Legiones
history,
Astartes,
yeah.
and indeed the Space Marine
Whoa,
First Millennium as
look
well.
at that.
with the Whirlwind missile tank.
There's something just kind of lovable about the Whirlwinds.
Yeah, he's
this is
quite
a-
cute,
The
isn't
scale
he?
and
it's just
magnitude
nice,
here,
it's
isn't
just
it?
nice. It's got
Kind of adorable.
a very useful little artillery piece. Does lots of useful, very cool stuff for you in the game. This is a long-range artillery.
I never
support
had a
piece that
Whirlwind
can,
as a kid, so I
reach enemy
always-
units
I was
where
soft
most
spot
of your
for them.
things can't get to them. Lots of the different
cool.
missiles you can give it have morale sapping effects, basically.
Yeah,
so
so
it's a debuffing.
If you put
piece
one of the
artillery.
details I
It comes
would
with
love to be
ice-based standard, you
reflected
upgrade
is
those missiles
Stram and
pyroactively,
Volkite
at which
weapons,
point, you
as
can
that is one of the few
drive
pieces
people
of
off
tech the
objectives by
Sunless
causing
world
panic.
produced all the way
Fantastic
through
for
Old Night.
shifting hard to
Interesting,
move.
that's
You know,
cool to
normally
know.
you're trying to kill dozens and dozens of models to claim objectives.
I assume that's like Black Book.
Land
They
on
just
those
make
guys
them walk
and
off
just-
it, then you can
make
just
them
take
give it to you.
We were talking before. This is obviously painted up in the
Watch them
colours of the
introduce Horus
Imperial
Heresy
Fist.
Sanctuary
We thought it was
Guard with
quite
wings
amusing
that
it was
don't
done
fit on
as a
Primaris.
Templar,
Yep.
because they're
Probably,
obviously the
but I mean, like I
keenest usually
say,
to get into
on
close
the
combat.
on the
You can
cover
imagine how
art
that
like
went.
Lost
It's
in
like,
the
my Lord
Downs,
Dawn, I'm now a Templar brother, and
you've
I'm
got
itching to
these
serve. And he's like,
got these
sit in
sanguinary
this at the
guards
back.
that have
Maybe a punishment.
that
perhaps.
have the
Maybe
wings as they
maybe
used to
just
have.
likes Sigismund too much. Who knows?
guess
It
the
is
sanguinary
fantastic,
guard
and
are
we're very excited for it. Where will you
unique armor.
find all the
Didn't really get
information you
updated.
need for these? Well, thankfully there is a new journal Tactica on the horizon. It's called Mailed Fist, and it details the Legiones Astartes super heavy tanks. Lots of lore, organisation charts, and
Ryan was good.
information.
I
on how
had
they
a
were fielded,
Vindicator.
the
That was my
operations
tank when I
that
was a
they
kid.
fulfilled, that
So
sort of
I
thing,
have
as well as some
I have
rules,
3
including the
Vindicators
rules for
now
the
and the
returning,
Typhon.
Whirlwind.
I have a Mummy Vindicator and 3 baby
And
Vindicators.
those of you with eagle
which I
eyes may
love.
have spotted there is
Stubby Whirlwind.
one
It is
Ultramarine.
stubby.
There we
in
go.
this
It's quite
preview.
cute.
Ultramarine fans,
We
fear
are
not, we've got you.
contractually obligated to include at least one Ultramarine Space Marine in every preview, and you can see him there about to be crushed under the
you
uncompromising
pricks.
wheels of the Iron Warriors.
If he's not dead yet, he will be soon. Perfect. So that was great. Loads of stuff for the Horus Heresy. I'm going to
Whirlwind is
quickly
adorable.
dive into the questions and see where we are at.
These 2 for Primaris.
Right. So we've got will the Custodians be playable in Warhammer 40,000?
Very-
That's from a Blood of Death.
Very
select
few
covered that one.
questions
Loads
will
of
be
those models will
answered
be.
in
And it's
this
really worth
stream.
saying again, if it's got a analogous unit in Warhammer 40,000, by all means use it. If it suits you, that would be great. Will we ever see
That's
more
why I
Systems
say
of
the
Silence?
Thermos Crusaders in reality the
and
Volkite
the
rule
answer
of
to that is
heresy. True. It's a
they
good way
have
of looking
rules
at
and
it.
all of their lore and stuff is contained within that Liber Custodes, so you can continue to field them. I hope one day we'll get more cool models
there's,
for them as well.
there's no new System of Silence in this particular wave of releases,
But they
there's
are very
absolutely-
much catered for.
Yeah, there's absolutely no reason that we wouldn't in the future, and they absolutely feature in the rules in this expansion.
And the question is, can you tell us how many heads there were? I probably could have done, but I've forgotten because it's been quite a long preview. I think
How
you
many
get,
heads for
how many bear heads? I think you get enough to do all
Well, they've
of the
got
models.
bear heads as
helmet,
well.
I think you
all
do, yeah.
those.
So if you want an
Yes.
entire squad in helmets, you can do it that way. If you want an entire squad in bear heads, you can do it that way as well, I think.
Perfect. But don't make your buying decision based on what I said right now because I might be wrong.
I had a
Will there be
question
something
earlier
for
on that I
those of
actually
us
got
who are
wrong.
only
I don't want to
interested in the
revisit.
lore?
So somebody asked
Well,
if
they did announce the
Corsair
Maelstrom
unit
book,
was able
which
to
will
join,
be. I mean, it'll be like
Bodyguard
500
able to
worlds,
join
right? It will be a
unit.
cool
I suppose
campaign,
it is, in fact,
and
it was
you'll
so-
have
Perfect.
aerial and
And the
human
last question,
background
this is
fighting.
from,
That'll be exciting.
Love
But you get some
George,
good background off
and
your
the question
factions, which is
in
valuable if
relation
you
to
really
tank,
care
is
about
this
them.
plastic? Everything we've shown in this entire preview is in plastic. So I don't know which tank you meant, but the answer is yes. The Coronis Grav Carrier, both the tanks, the super heavy, all of it, it's plastic all
Do
the
you
way
want to just
along.
get a shot of the
Oh,
grab carrier next to...
the scale of the thing is
Yeah.
quite fun, isn't it? So try not to scrape
Drop
the
it, drop it.
metalwork against each other. So I'm going to put them so they're sort of end to end. You can
That
get a
Whirlwind
sense of
looks
how big
so
they are.
adorable
If,
next to the
camera on
super heavy,
those.
doesn't it?
It is
He's so
very
cute.
nearly super heavy.
doing his
size,
best.
the
It's really
Coronas.
not far off. It's certainly not quite as bulky, perhaps.
I
as
think
the
they might
Space
travel
Marines.
in more comfort. Than
They definitely do,
than
yes.
the,
They have a bit more space
Marines.
inside there, perhaps.
This was very clearly
Fantastic.
designed
It's a
around
big
how
old
easy
tank,
it would
certainly.
be to make in the resin
Right.
process.
There we go. We are not quite done yet.
They're
We did
Marines.
promise you that we would return to the grim darkness of the far future, and here we are with a little teaser.
Come on. This. Oh! Iron Warriors kill team? What is that?
Well, that was a tease, wasn't it?
So that could mean almost anything.
It could. All we
mean
know
almost
is that the reign of iron approaches, and some of you may have been able to form your own opinions on things that maybe were being hinted at with hazard stripes and sort of burnished silver armor. Who knows? If you want to have a look at those images again, hop over to warhammercommunity.com. There'll be an article appearing there. If it's not already there, it'll be very soon, and you can maybe glean a few more bits of
Yarrick.
information.
I
That brings
don't know
us
if that was
to the end
Yarrick,
of
but
our preview. If you've
I'd
enjoyed
love
this
to
and
be
you want
wrong.
more Warhammer for tonight, Over in the US at Palm Springs right now, there is a Warhammer Open event taking place where there's fantastic games of Warhammer being played all weekend. And as soon as we're done here, we're going to throw back to the team out there who will be commentating on fantastic games of Warhammer 40,000, I believe. So jump on board and have a look at what's going on there by all means. Really what remains, I guess, is to say thanks to everybody who's made this work.
Yeah.
We've got a team of people who've operated all the cameras and all the streaming equipment and
Righty. There's this storm of iron. Oh man, okay, here we go. I think it's just Iron Warrior stuff so far. Yeah. It's just Demon Engine, I'm afraid. But I get what you mean. It was a claw, so I was wondering. Oh, that is pretty exciting, guys. I can't wait to see what they do for that. Man. It's not Yarrick, it's Defiler. I don't know if it's going to be Defiler or just some sort of yeah, just kind of, yeah, some sort of demon type model. But yes, a new Defiler model would be great, which would be awesome. Surprised there was no Ravenwing. Yeah, Raven would have been a nice touch. Oh, I'm gonna take these off. But yeah, I guess they'll probably wait for the Dark Angels Codex in 11th edition to release. That would probably make sense. But yeah, it's definitely missing. And now that we know that it's coming because of the Dawn of War 4 trailer, it's only a matter of time. Peter Turbo is the NIK. Unfortunately, I don't think so. But, or actually, fortunately, I guess. But I do think that it's going to be pretty exciting, because I guess that sort of points us more into the direction of it will be Perturabo that comes before Lorgar, which is not what I would have guessed. However, that also brings up the likelihood of us getting Grogol Dawn as the next Primarch, because there's a symmetry there. Naturally, if you bring back Perturabo, then you would bring back Grogol Dawn opposite him. That would always be a major campaign that people would really enjoy. But whereas I wouldn't have ranked Grogol Dawn that highly before seeing that release, so we will see. But then I don't know. It's tough to know whether that's going to be like a big, yeah. Because the thing is, there could just be a kill team, right? Like there's a Night Lords kill team, there's 2 Night Lords kill teams, so maybe it would just be that. But if it is the next big direction, Honzao definitely would get a model. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of stuff they could do. I don't think it will be Perturabo that soon, but I mean, I'd love to be wrong. I mean, yeah, I feel like we're still, because Fulgrim was only 2 years ago. I feel like that's quite quick. Actually, last year, I guess. Yeah, last year. It was this edition. So maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be a little while, but I'm going off vibes already for that, to be honest with you. So yeah, who really knows? But I think it'll still be a little bit of time. No books announced. Not really, outside of the Maelstrom one, which is a bit of a shame. I mean, they'll do a follow-up article where they'll talk about the books coming out this year, I reckon. But that will come. Hopefully next week we'll get that. Perturabo could try and set up an empire of his own around Olympia as he tried in the Scouring. That would be a good way of doing it. At the very least, yeah, coming up with what you want to do for Perturabo will be fascinating. 5 out of 10 show. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy for, like, there's nothing there for me, I'll be honest with you. Like, I won't be getting any of that. But, yeah, Red Corsairs and Corsairs, that's pretty good. I was surprised they didn't just call it like the Corsairs box or something, because it's maybe it's too obvious. But, yeah, it wasn't, yeah, nothing there to me to get particularly excited about, personally. But no Jagatai Khan. I mean, I'm still going to put my money on Jagatai Khan for the next Primarch to return. as things stand, but who knows? Plus, since the next stage of the Pariah Nexus will involve Vashtor and the Iron Warriors at least, as well as an Iron Warriors warband attached to Vashtor in Archmagos, I feel like they are going to get some focus. Interesting. No new Lion book. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, they don't always announce books in live stream reveals, so maybe it will just be a bit of a while, but I imagine it's quite likely we'll get article in the weeks to come that will tell us about books coming out in the near future. We know we've got Alpha Legion coming, so that's at least one. Clone Crew and Necrodermis armor. Gilliman versus Perturabo trilogy, Dark Imperium 2, baby. I mean, plus like a Gilliman Ventress team up, that would be awesome. Can you imagine? Yes, it was some pretty good previews. No books announced. Yeah. Peter Turbo is the king in yellow and black. Nice. I like that. Perturabo is much more popular than Lorgar. All about the dollars. That is true. I think he would sell a lot better than Lorgar would do. And I quite like his 30k model as well. But yeah, I mean, it's all sort of, I think it's also sort of more like uncharted territory, right? Like Lorgar, we sort of know he's a big golden demon. I'm sure when he gets a model, it will be beautiful. It will be great. But like Perturabo is a whole thing. Like we don't really know what he will look like. He could take many different forms, and they could probably just bring him in as like a big iron dragon type thing, or he could look like largely human, but just like a chaos dreadnought type thing. There's so many ways they could go about it, and the idea that he's done his thing of forging himself into a perfect weapon, maybe he was successful, maybe he wasn't, but there's a lot of fun to be had with that. Will we finally get a model of the Demonculava? I don't think so, but I think that's too far for Games Workshop. Long-time fan, first-time stream. This might be a hot take, but I enjoyed most of what they showed to us. Good. I'm glad. The Lord of Iron betrayed the trust of the Lion. Vengeance. Yeah, that would be a good use of the Lion. Even in the Lion's novel when he returned, there was a reference to Diamat and how the Lion kind of fucked up there. But to be fair, I wonder how a 40k Corvus Corax model would look like. That would be an interesting one for sure. Yeah, again, because he's so... Yeah, we don't really know too much about what he would look like back in 40k real space. But you could have him... In my head, like my idea is like he's like fading into... He's fading into crows. Like it's like a bunch of crows fading into the model, because he do that thing where he kind of turns into a flock of crows, which I think is pretty cool. Or a murder of crows, I guess you call it, don't you? Something, yeah. Perturabo really became wiser and more mature in the stories. I'd love to see if they continue that. Yeah, but then now he's doing his whole... He wants to kind of take control of chaos kind of thing, which is a bit of a surprise to see that so quickly. I thought it would be slower. But the scouring is starting off pretty strong with Perturabo coming up with some plans. So we'll see. Time to build some demon engines from soda cans and house wiring. Yeah, you can definitely build your own demon engines. That would work. A non-Imperium campaign. Yeah, non-Imperium campaign is always going to be something that people will get a kick out of. But the truth is it will normally do worse, like in terms of numbers. But at least, yeah, Red Corsairs are a popular faction. That is true. You could kit bash the Space Wolves into Red Corsairs and attach them to the new Corsairs unit. To be fair, like the Red Corsairs, they take in renegades from all over, so you can kit bash a lot into Red Corsairs. So yeah, Space Wolves really no problem. But like the Space Marine, the Red Corsair that Huron goes against in his novel is a Blood Angel. So there you go. Did you see the Khan Joy Toy release? I know it's weak, but that could be a subtle hint. I think they're just doing all of them, to be honest, but I haven't seen it there, and they are super nice. I have the Cypher one back there. Yeah, they are great. Have they said when Scouring Book 2 is due yet? No, they haven't yet. I would guess still a few months out. Not all renegades are chaos, but the red corsairs definitely are. Lol. Huron is literally a sorcerer from T-Root. Yeah, there are definitely renegades that, you know, are for all intents and purposes just kind of on the bad side of the Inquisition, or have, yeah, pissed off the High Lords of Terra or whatever it's going to be, but still maintain that they're loyal to the Emperor. And even some of them go largely unmolested, because if you're on the Outer Rim, you kind of, yeah, secure your fiefdom and carry on. They released the Custodies video on their channel and the comments are open. That won't last long. I think we can count down to how long those comments will be open. Red Corsair, Black Horse Civil War is coming for Chaos. If you're interested in that, you should read Pandarax. That does come up, because of course you have Abaddon the Despoiler trying to keep control of the Red Corsairs and doing his best there, because of course they're not easy to take command of. Mostly the Terminators and the Custodies too. Yeah. The Space Marine campaign book versus Xenos that they lose. They are the MCs, but they lose. Versus Eldar, preferably now. 500 cards. Sorry, you're saying you want a campaign book where Space Marines lose. I think that's not, to be fair, I think that's too controversial, really. I guess people like their faction to win, but it is understandable that the Xenos needs some victories. Yeah, it did last a while. It was about an hour and a half, I think that was. You know, it's sort of interesting because, like, it is nice that is it Andy and Eddie? They're quite personable and they kind of get to know chat and stuff. But realistically, most people want to see the releases and they don't want to see it dragged out too much. So when they add all this stuff in around, like, these are the models we've recently painted, and like them kind of playing around with the models on the table, I do think that, like, it probably hinders more than it helps, because I think most of the people watching just want to see the releases. I think it's what's going on there. And even if you're excited for a lot of that stuff coming out, like it's all relevant for you, you still have to sit through AOS and Blood Bowl or whatever kind of game systems that you don't necessarily play, and so you're not particularly interested. Lionel Johnson. It annoys me that the Lion catches shit for giving Peter Perturabo the weapons. How was he to know he turned? No one else knew. Not Magnus or E. Yeah, you are right. You are right. I mean, I think especially when the Emperor himself didn't know, it's a bit weird for people to be like, how did the Lion not know? I'm totally with you there. In Arcs of Omen, it was definitely a Space Marine loss. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, they get the main thing that they want, which is, of course, the Calgar engine. So they kind of got the main thing that they desired, and at the end of the day, the Lion returning is great, but it's not. The forces of chaos might have everything they need now to ultimately kind of win the war, which is the problem. Which bit of the Emperor's stuff do we think that Rogal Dawn is getting? I say it's the glove on the side, as he has no hand. Yeah, that's a very reasonable guess. I think probably the most popular guess. I guess I've always quite liked the idea that Corvus gets the claw. One gold claw, one black claw would be cool. But yes, the claw would make a lot of sense. I think things more like the Emperor's cloak would fit very well for Rogal Dawn or something like that. But yeah, the claw is a very sensible guess. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff you could do. Like, for instance, even like just his gloves would be quite useful, things like that, because you could do, if Rogal Dawn comes back a psyker, like a powerful psyker, then having him get access to like psychic technology of the Emperor, stuff like that, you could go nuts with it. Dawn finally gets the Imperial Fist. That's true. To be fair, that's actually a good point. He would become the Imperial Fist if he just got the other hand. But yeah, I believe technically the other gauntlet was given to the Dark Angels in the old lore, because the Dark Angels used it for Terminator armor, as everyone did, which is why the Dark Angels have so many Terminators. What do you think? Work? Oh yeah, it does work. What do you think people are saying? Why? What do you think people about? What do you think about people saying that the Lion would only meet Titus and not Gilliman before going back over to Nihilus? Definitely not. That seems, yeah, absurd to say that to me, because like obviously that's the point of the passage, is that the point of that lore is that they're setting up the Lion and Gilliman meeting. I got that comment a couple of times. I don't know where it came from, but like clearly there was a Reddit post or something where a couple of people commented on the stream and they were like, you know, YouTubers reading into like one line and making it a big deal. And I was like, that is such a bizarre reaction to that lore, because I understand that like there's a thing where, you know, someone could take a nothing line and, you know, if the Lion made a comment about how he had a tough history with Gilliman and someone took that line and spun it into Lionel Johnson declares war on Gilliman, that is a great example, I think, of YouTubers like taking a line and spinning it out of all context. But when the lore is literally the Lion declaring his intention to meet Gilliman, it's obviously for a purpose. Like he's obviously intending to go meet Gilliman. So I think that it would like, it serves no, it would be pointless to have him just meet Titus. And yes, Gilliman might be somewhere else at that point during the 500 Worlds campaign, but the 40k timeline is very malleable. It's very malleable. That's fine. Yeah, it's just sort of weird. I feel like there's a certain like almost like counter edginess that comes sometimes with some 40k fans, and like a lot of like that kind of like Reddit kind of sphere where they don't want any fun to be had. They're like, I don't want anyone theorizing on what's going to happen in the book. And like you know, we talked on the channel before about the whole people saying, oh yeah, there's a fake emperor, right? That was a good example where the book doesn't say there's a fake emperor. It doesn't even imply there's a fake emperor, but someone might, you know, misread a line and made a big, you know, Reddit post or whatever about how there's a fake emperor, and that's not really true. But at the same time, when like I did a video on how like the Emperor's last words to Horus, and I spoke to a YouTuber bigger than I about it, and he was like kind of annoyed about it. He was kind of annoyed that I made this video, and I was like, but like the point of the Emperor's last words to Horus are that Dan Abnett is telling you the Emperor waits for Horus. You can tell that because of the line, "I wait for you." That's what that point. That's the only purpose of that line. It serves no other purpose. It's not a metaphor. It's he's telling the Horus, "I wait for you." And it's just sort of like, yeah, I find it quite weird, because like I'm with people when they get annoyed about people saying, oh, there's a fake emperor when there isn't a fake emperor. When the lore is pretty direct, when they're clear, you know, when they're very clearly setting up the Lion and Gilliman reuniting, I find it bizarre that you just would shoot down any kind of theorizing. And the thing is, I've spoken to enough authors now that I know that they do this for a reason. When Mike Brooks writes Altharius, head of the Hydra, he does it knowing that we're all gonna theorize about what this means for Altharius and taking the lines and think about what they mean. That's sort of the point of the book, sort of the idea behind it. Of course, he didn't write the book with the idea that no one would theorize on what's going to happen next. Lion meets Phobos, Calgar, yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, there was no Phobos Calgar. Next time, I promise. The line "I wait for you" has a hope built into it in a setting that's meant to be hopeless. I mean, that's fine. Like you're allowed to not like the line. That's totally fair. I have nothing against that, brother. Like if your idea is that you think that that's too hopeful for a 40k or 30k book, then yeah, nothing against that. But the truth is, the line does exist now, and I can only report on what the lore actually says. I remember the other thing he said. There's a YouTuber messaged me, and he was annoyed about. I did a live stream on the Emperor Awakening. When I said that the Emperor is awakening, and did it with Quipster, and he was like, "But the Emperor isn't awakening," and I was like, "That's what the book says." Like that's the quote from in the Dawn of Fire series. They regularly refer to the idea of the Emperor awakening. It's from the story. Like I can't, if I'm literally quoting the book and you're saying that I'm misunderstanding the lore, then it's not my fault you haven't read that book. Like you're holding me to a standard I can't possibly reach because I can only talk about books that you've personally read. It's a weird thing to do. Yeah. Do you think there will be time shenanigans with Pandemonium? almost certainly because it's set in its own little reality bubble, but who knows? The only thing people hate more than change is the way things are. Yeah, I mean, like I guess this is the thing. I totally respect people that like 40k just to be the dying of the light and humanity is doomed and that kind of thing. But I guess the truth is, for a long time, Games Workshop did that. And it nearly died. Like Games Workshop as a company nearly died because it just had its limit on the number of people that were interested in it. The truth is, people like a little bit of hope. It's much more interesting to have a little bit of hope, even if it doesn't come true. Even if 40k universe still ends in a massive amount of death and loss and chaos victory, people like the stories to have a little bit of hope because it just sort of gives you something to be interested in and hyped about. It's a huge deal. People calling us custodies. Yeah. I hope it wasn't Lewis. It wasn't Lewis. No. It was, yeah, it was, some people are just quite like, I don't know, they're just quite, and some people have a thing that's just like, you must engage with Warhammer how I engage with it. And if you don't, you're doing Warhammer wrong. And it's like, no, that's not true. But yeah, this was a bit weird because when it was just like he was he listed a few titles. Some of them weren't my videos, firstly, which was weird. And then the others, I was like for example, it was like Litu was the other one. He was like, Litu isn't the first Space Marine. So I just gave him the quote where the Emperor calls him the first Space Marine, and he just like doesn't reply. And I was like, okay, right then, okay, whatever. So it's just like it's not my fault if you haven't read the lore, but like there are no videos of mine on my channel that have ever existed where, you know, outside of like a jokey stream like this, even like where like someone's watched one of my videos and been like, oh, the title was really misleading here. If you watch any of my videos, the topic of the video is very obviously explaining it, and there's no time where I deliberately misinterpret the lore to get a title that doesn't make sense. It's very clear where I've got the idea from. The hope makes the grimdark more poignant. Yes, that's true. With the Torellian bounty hunter being part of the CSM announced today, I was thinking that this is a way that GW can add Chaos Votann. That's true. I mean, a Chaos, adding like like some Chaos Votann to the Iron Warriors range or something like that would be amazing. My hope is that you get like a Chaos Votann kill team in Dark Mechanicum or something like that. Today's title is misleading. Yes, to be fair. To be fair, in my defense, I thought this was quite obviously a joke. I think Yuri or Ventress novels give us a good look about the Iron Horse. That is true. That is true. And I think that Honzao is definitely one of the more popular Chaos characters overall. So I think that would do well. They should have literally done the 40k stuff in the opposite order, but the new Custodes models make it very apparent who the Roman Legion analogs are. Poor Ultramarines, sad patience. I mean, yes, I mean, at least they're not on Ozempic, so there you go. They've got their chunkiness remaining. Lion L. Johnson, thank you for the gift memberships. If you got one of them, please do thank the Lion, and jump into the Discord as well. Of course, it's a joke. I love it. I mean, maybe I'll just keep this going, and like the next stream that I do, I'll do a stream on Marneus Calgar in Gravis. Every stream, it will just get more and more weird until we get to like Marneus Calgar in Sisters of Silence Armour, Marneus Calgar in the Marneus Calgar in Malcador's robe. It just gets more weird. People take the whole waking up thing and picture Biggie as being Biggie standing up and being his 30k self again, when it's pretty obvious they are talking about him exerting more presence on Ethereum. Yes, that's true. That's true. But like in that instance, like I called the video like the Emperor Awakening, right? And that's because the book calls it the Emperor Awakening. And so I was like, that's literally what the book says, man. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, just overrule the author? Like. The Custodians wish they had that Victrix Guard drip. That's true. The Victrix Guard do still hold up well. Oh, actually, no, they just got a bunch of new models, didn't they? They're even better. Marneus Calgar playing saxophone on a Land Raider. Yeah. We have to make this a thing now. I'm gonna with hopefully YouTube won't get me in trouble, but so see if these comments are turned off. On the comments are still open. That's where my sanguinary guard wings went. Brave of you to leave the comments open. Brothers of Silence when making the Custodies into Stormcast Eternal. 4 out of 10. Ozempic Custodies. Oh my god. Make Warhammer a yeah, they this is going to be pretty like this was like actually like massive props to Games Workshop for leaving these comments open. That was a good time. Yes, but hey. Necron Marneus Calgar, yeah. You notice how they brush off Sisters of Science. Yeah, it's a shame that Sisters of Science don't get more focus because they are a really interesting faction in the books, and they're written pretty well. I think that like Alea is really good, Janisha Kroll is really good, and they are for a faction that doesn't speak. You can have this. It's kind of interesting because it's obviously like a narrative, you're hamstrung narratively on what you can do, but they handle it really well. Like they come up with some pretty interesting ideas for how to make the Sisters of Silence lore interesting. Like to be fair, there are at least 2 stories I can think of where the story is about how, or it ends with how the Sisters of Silence eventually start talking, which is you can only do so many times, but still a lot they can do with. Do sisters have character? Sisters of Battle, they do have character. I think that less so historically than people would like, because they're all like as fervently, they all fervently believe in the divinity, the master of mankind. They're kind of like very, very aggressive Black Templars kind of characters. But there have been some pretty good examples. I actually quite liked Demon Breaker. It's a short story by Jude Reed. I thought that was some of her better writing. I think Jude Reed is really good at writing characters when she's given more freedom. When you allow her to just kind of write her own ideas, because you get these, like one of the sisters that she writes in that story is a sister with a blood condition, and she's basically hemophiliac, but they don't call it that. They call it like Agrathar's condition or whatever. Anyway, but she's a really interesting idea because of course she had to lie to become a Sister of Battle, and she just wants to live her life dedicated to the Emperor before she dies. And when you do things like that, that's a very obvious way to make this a very distinctive story from the stories of the Space Marines, because the Space Marines of course don't suffer that kind of thing. Empress Raid, hi, thank you so much. Thanks to Empress of Mankind, very kind. I've never had that before. That was the thing. I don't actually know how you do that. Maybe this is dumb, but is there any possibility the candelabra and the chalice represents Dante, or the big 3, being the perfect vessel for the Emperor, which is why he can't die? So I think that it's not impossible that they're connected to Dante. The chalice, of course, I think is pretty likely thing to be connected to the Emperor, because chalice, blood angels. But Dante's storyline is that he's eternally going towards him being the Golden Warrior that will one day defend the Emperor. And it's a pretty fun storyline, because the hilarious thing about the Golden Warrior prophecy is that Dante is kind of like weirdly ashamed of the fact that he thinks it's him. Because, of course, it's quite egotistical to believe you're the person that will one day save the Emperor of mankind. But it seems almost certain that that's where the story is going someday. So it's much more likely to me that Dante will be the person to save the Emperor in that respect. But in terms of what the candelabra and the spear mean, I think they probably mean other stuff. The spear, I think, is going to be Russ, because it's just obviously Russ is the Primarch most connected to the Lion in terms of like what fans typically think of in terms of the Lion's relationships, and the candelabra likely the Astronomicon. And given that the Lion is an Imperium Nihilus, perhaps it's something around helping the Emperor of Mankind, helping the light of the Emperor of Mankind once again shine through into Imperium Nihilus. Do you see what I mean? So I think that that's probably kind of like the 3 quests that the Lion has, that the Emperor has given to the Lion: protect the Sons of Sanguinius, find Leman Russ, and allow the light of the Master of Mankind to shine through into Imperium Nihilus once more. Sandman of Terra, you're one of my favorite fellow 40k channels. You are. Thank you so much. That's very kind. Very kind. Dante is very humble. He is the best. He is the scene of him at the end of Devastation of Bar, where he does want to die, is particularly brutal, and it is incredibly hard not to like the character when he does that, when he takes off his mask and allows everyone to see that he actually just looks fucking old now. Like, it's pretty brutal. But yeah, I get, yeah, he's a very likable character. I got my son the Joy Toy Dante figure for Christmas. Interesting. Is it the new model or the old one? Well, I guess he's largely the same. But yeah, I guess they're not that old. Oh, has my camera just died? Okay, I guess that's going to be the end of the stream, guys. I think my camera just died of battery. I don't know how that happened. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, well, I guess that's going to call that then. Thank you so much to everybody that stuck with me through to this time. Thank you to everyone that supported the stream. I had a really good time. I'll be streaming again on Sunday for members. We'll be having a chat. I actually don't know what about. I have to have a think. But I'm going to get back to editing, and I will see you all then. Anyway, as my face is stuck on a particularly beautiful expression, I have to end the stream there. Anyway, take care all. I'll see you next time.